Hayashizaki Kani, a swordswoman known as the Assault Revolver. Since she was young, she had challenged and won many dojos, but it was not just bragging. She fought like a wind god. However, when the girl sleeps and her body is embraced by the rays of the sun, her face looks like an angel's. So childish and innocent. The boy's name is Hayashizaki Kazuki. He is 16 years old. As a child, he was adopted by the Hayashizaki family, and from that day on, Kazuki is a first year at the Paladin Academy. Now he is trying to wake up Kani, who does not respond to knocking and calling. Kazuki enters the room where his younger sister Kani is sleeping peacefully. Fascinated by her appearance, he tries to wake the girl up, but is unexpectedly attacked by the deadly temptation technique from his awakened sister. Kani hugged Kazuki tightly, ending up on his back. Despite his attempts to free himself, the boy was stuck in his sister's embrace, feeling awkward from her confession of pure love and the awkwardness of his body position. Kani deliberately presses herself against Kazuki, showing off her high school girl outfit. This is her way of celebrating her meeting with her brother and getting his attention. The boy feels uncomfortable and tense about the situation. Deciding to take action, Kazuki stands up, throwing Kani off. The girl falls and cries, but later admits that she only wanted to distract her brother before preparing. She calls it the secret art of Hayashizaki, princess skating. This technique is not easy to perform, but as Kani had hoped, her brother got caught in it. Since the girl can't move, Kazuki, according to his sister, should help her change her clothes. Kazuki changes Kani into a modest school uniform, which she sincerely admires, also noticing her brother's stylish appearance. Kani admires her brother's new look, wishing she could see him even more impressive. Arming herself, she notices that Kazuki's sword is still lying around and reminds him of it. They are standing in a spacious room. Kani asks his brother if he is going to carry a sword. After a moment of silence, Kazuki looks away from his little sister. He says that he won't because he doesn't need swordsmanship anymore. Kani is surprised by the mark on her brother's hand, believing that such marks are only found on women and require joining the Magic Division and making a pact with a diva. Magic Division, Kishigakuin State Academy has two divisions, the Magic Division and the Swordsman Division. Hayashizaki Kani, a female swordsman from the Swordsman Division, and Hayashizaki Kazuki, a male paladin from the Magic Division. 15 years ago, they discovered magic by creating the Philosopher's Stone, which awakens magical powers when implanted into the brain. The Philosopher's Stone created a magical barrier that protected the body from normal attacks, which led to a new war, a war of swords and magic. The structure of the police and the army also changed. A special organization known as Kishiden was created, and Kishiden opened its academy in Japan, where Kazuki will be trained in the Magic Division from today. After taking a walk, Kani again inquires about her brother's desire to join the Magic Division. A tired Kazuki is irritated by the repetition of the question, and Kani emphasizes the unpleasantness of being branded by a diva. The boy stretched his hand to the sky and looked at the mark left by the diva. He himself wondered why she gave him this brand. In the depths of man there is a subconscious. It is as big as the sea. The lower part of this sea is called a storum, through which all humanity is connected. A storum is a magical region inhabited by diva creatures summoned into reality by magic. Some divas mark chosen people with a special mark. Brands are under strict government control. The contract signing ceremony will change the brand into a stigmata. Only a person with a stigma can become a paladin. Kazuki is forced to join the Magic Division due to the stigma, preferring to become a swordsman. Kani is unhappy with her brother's decision and finds no way out of the argument. Turning to him, she screams that her brother was the only rival good enough for her. Her face turns red. She asks the boy to understand that she is not his older sister. She screams and asks him to stop addressing her like that. Kazuki will always be the brother she loves and respects. But it is true, Kani was born before him. As an orphan, Kazuki was brought into the Hayashizaki family after the death of his mother Kani, forming a special bond between an older brother and younger sister. The brand appears at age 14, but it only appeared on Kazuki, revealing the fact that he is younger than his sister. Kani angrily tells her brother that this doesn't change the relationship between them. She is much stronger than her brother, but knowing that she is older, it upsets her. Kazuki laughs and says that it's okay, everything is settled with that. He tells the mentor to take care of her. Offended by her brother's treatment, Kani becomes indignant, but feeling a touch on her cheek, she pitifully asks him not to tease her like that. Kazuki holds his sister's cheeks and says that she is the strongest swordsman and he will become the strongest mage. So her brother will always be her rival. His summoning magic will defeat her magic sword. He asks her to be prepared for this. Looking away, Kani encourages her brother to become a better mage by following the family tradition. The conversation is interrupted by a boy calling for the president. The girl's phone was turned off. Having caught his breath, Torazu calmed down. Kenshi says that he is showing the newcomer around. The girl does not want him to be disturbed. Now Torazu understands. His face turned gloomy. He noticed the boy was wearing a male uniform of the magic division. So the rumors were true. The president praises his strong younger brother, causing confusion among those around him. Kenshi then seriously inquires about the reason for the urgent meeting between mages and swordsmen is reported at the school. Kenshi criticizes third-rank Torazu for not being able to resolve the situation on his own. Kenshi apologized to her brother and asked him to call her president. Being the strongest in swordsmanship, she became the head of the student council of Kishigakuen Academy. The girl went to the scene of the incident, not forgetting to take Torazu with her so that he could show the way. Kazuki watches his sister run away. Kenshi can be relied upon. So the boy lost his guide. He hopes that he can easily find the place himself. Looking at the building opposite, the boy thought that the magic division might be there. Kazuki, walking along the alley, hears whispers around him. Everything is as Torazu said. There are many rumors about him. Some of the girls think the guy is cute and some think he is a barbarian. Some think that there was some kind of mistake. The young man has entered a scandalous place. He wonders whether he is going in the right direction or not. Kazuki wants to ask someone who does not know him. Having closed the boy's eyes, the girl presses herself against him from behind and asks him to guess her by her voice. But Kazuki has difficulty answering. Threatening to deprive Kazuki of a ticket to the hot springs, the girl rushes him to answer. But upon hearing silence, she allows him to look at her. In front of him stood a long-haired girl with a bow on her head. She had a beautiful uniform with a chic bow on the collar. Kazuki has no idea who this beauty is. Introducing herself as Kazuki's mentor, 16-year-old Kaguya demands to be addressed by name and shares her knowledge of his status as the president's younger brother and the presence of the brand. After learning of Kazuki's connection with the president, Kaguya decides to befriend him by holding his hand and insisting on a friendly relationship. Kazuki agrees to become Kaguya's friend, which causes the latter to be overjoyed. Having calmed down, she asks to be addressed by her first name, leaving aside formalities. Kazuki is embarrassed to call Kaguya by her name, but she refuses the title of mentor and asks about the purpose of his visit to the outskirts of the city. Kaguya's approach makes Kazuki nervous, but he explains that his sister promised a tour, but she was called away on business. An inspired Kaguya takes the initiative, leading Kazuki to Sol Sil's castle, ignoring his initial interest in the magic department. The beautiful One-san holds his hand. It soothes his wounded heart. His mind, his intellect is now calmer than Gandhi. A bell interrupts Kaguya's fun, changing her plans. Taking Kazuki's hand, she hurries to the fountain square for the opening ceremony, hoping to avoid the consequences of holding hands together. National Night Academy, Fountain Square. The Magic Division's entrance ceremony is about to begin. The host welcomes all new students. Kazuki stands alone among the girls. Kaguya left him as soon as they reach the fountain square. While the guy is thinking about what to do with his new girlfriend, the host announces that the student council president will now give a speech. Atanashi Kaguya's true identity is the student council president. Realizing the power of Kaguya, the president talks about the phenomenon of carcinoma, an invasion of magic and creatures from a strum that turned the familiar world of myths and legends upside down. 7 countries, including Japan, America, Russia, and China, have obtained magical powers from ancient legends as they continue to prepare to defend themselves from threats from the outside world. International and domestic conflicts over illegal magic usage have escalated, increasing the number of illegal magicians. Kishiden fights against invasion, illegal magic, and carcinoma. But no one should be afraid because everyone is here now in a place where there is enough power to fight these threats. All of them chosen to be the 72 Pillars of Solomon, the prestigious cadets of Kishiden, the heroes of the New World. High school students experience doubt and uncertainty as they take on responsibilities interrupted by the noise of wheels. Turning to the source of the sound, fear appeared on the students' faces. On the platform with wheels was a chained dragon, which was about to break loose to devour and destroy everything around. By breaking the magical bonds, the president releases the dragon, which wreaks havoc among the frightened students who do not understand the reason for her actions. The dragon stands on all its paws and looks straight into the crowd. All the newly arrived students looking at the keen eye begin to be afraid. The powerful creature senses the fear of the little people. He lets out an angry roar, which would make everyone run away in every direction. Shem Ha-Mephorash, her power, thirst for omnipotence. According to this contract, she must obey her orders and show her power. Her name is Asmodeus. The dragon rebukes Kaguya for using her as a mere spectacle, declaring his intention to turn the world into hell by embodying unholy desires and misfortunes. Ordered to return to the other world, the dragon disappears. This is the world of Guernica. The president attacks a powerful dragon which is now consumed by darkness. The newly arrived students have not moved from their place, including Kazuki himself. They watch what is happening attentively. The dragon begins to dissolve into tiny particles floating in the air. Leaving only smoke, the dragon disappeared. Kaguya explained the essence of summoning magic, emphasizing the need for a sincere desire for justice, a sense of responsibility, and the ability to properly wield power. And having finished her very long speech, Kaguya says that she is glad to welcome everyone to the Magic Division. As the crowd cheers after the president's grand speech, Kazuki stands to the side and wonders why he, a mere man, is destined for such a powerful force. Justice, peace, just incomprehensible ideas. Kazuki just wanted to make his father, who adopted him, happy. That's all. The boy asks himself a question about whether he can, as Kaguya said, take responsibility for this evil force. Kanny calls her little brother. He asks if she has completed her task. The girl laughs and says that those fools who started the fight are well offended. Someone addressed Kana-chan. While meeting with Kazuki and Kanny, Kaguya mentioned the conflict between mages and swordsmen, noting the provocative actions of the mage apprentice. Kaguya condemns violence regardless of the initiator, warning of the risk of damaging relations between divisions. Kanny wonders why a student would choose to fight over practicing the summoning arts. Wanting to find out how long her brother has known Kaguya, Kanny leads Kazuki further, forbidding him from communicating with the girl until Kaguya joins the excursion. Kaguya says that Kazuki is essentially a student of the Magic Division. Kanny can't see anyone off from the Magic Division, so she wants to keep an eye on him. Kanny asks to hold her horses because she has already agreed with her brother about this. The girl demands that her rival does not interfere in their personal life. Kaguya says that a student of the Magic Division must be accompanied by the corresponding student council president. Sister says that the fencing division is more suitable for Barut. Kazuki already wants to go to his class alone. He already knew this, of course, but there were only girls in the class. Kazuki endures the class's hostility until a brazen stranger declares everyone scum, astounding the boy and charming several girls. British graduate Lisa Westwood is appointed as a trainer, obliging students to prepare to become paladins and thank her in advance for training them. Looking at the class, she says that all the students will be problematic. Those sitting in the audience do not dare interrupt the teacher. Lisa Westwood says before they get on her nerves, she'll tell them one thing. A guy sitting in an office doesn't deserve a girl's attention. She called Kazuki an E-rank trash and ordered him not to overestimate the importance of being here. The young man did not remain silent after such a statement and replied that he did not overestimate anything and also did not plan to be an E-rank for long. The teacher approved of the student's answer, warning the girls against excessive emotions and suggesting that they direct their energy towards training. Lisa says that in any case, out of the whole class, he is the only one with an E rank and a couple of others in the other classes. The teacher noticed that there are a couple of A ranks in the class. Amasaki Mio strives to become the strongest mage, but her teacher abruptly stops her. Another girl behind Kazuki is critical of what is happening. Lisa Westwood confirmed the girl's words. She is another A rank from the class. Her name is Hayakari Kayawuki. Kazuki turned to look at the girl. Kayawuki looks like an elf. He heard what happened to people with great magical power. Due to this power, the physical body underwent significant changes. They are called elves. She turned to the E rank, asking about what was on her face. The guy apologized to the girl. He really didn't expect the elf girl to be so beautiful. With a completely indifferent expression, Kayawuki asked again about beautiful, saying that he must have meant ridiculous. Exhaling and maintaining a mask of indifference, she advises the guy to say what he really thinks. This is inappropriate as the girl thinks. Kazuki shouts that he meant what he said. The boy loudly complimented Kayawuki's beauty, causing her embarrassment. Lisa ridiculed him for his public courtship, calling him a low-ranking student. Lisa repeats to the class what Hayakari said, that the current rank doesn't matter much. When Enigma turns into Stigma, that will be the decisive moment. The signing of the contract with the diva will happen much later. For now, the teacher wants to start with an introduction. She named number 1. She wanted to say that, but Amasaki had already introduced herself, so Lisa lets her in. Mio asks her to wait a minute because she doesn't agree with that. Lisa Westwood says that they already know enough about the glorious daughter of the Amasaki house. The young man looks at her. Amasaki Mio noticed his gaze and turned around. Her cheeks were covered with a blush. The fair-haired pretty Mio. The girl stood up from her desk and asked to be allowed to introduce herself again. She is the future student council president Amasaki Mio. The girl is interested in drawing, writing books and sewing. Her specialty, of course, magical arts. Mio waved shyly at the guy, which of course Kazuki noticed. He mentally asks her not to tell him that they know each other. The entire class is tense as Kazuki turns his head to see who the girl is waving at. The boy's behavior has made Mio very angry. After completing the introductions, Kazuki introduced himself, despite his low ranking, as someone who enjoys training, cooking, and doing laundry and specializes in swordsmanship. Mio and Lisa criticize Kazuki's choice to study fencing in the magic division, deeming it inappropriate and questioning his decision. But compared to the Hayashizaki style taught to him by his father and Kani, Kazuki considers swordsmanship, which requires more effort to learn, to be a more refined art. It's Hayakari Kyoyuka's turn. She doesn't care about anyone present, she doesn't have any hobbies or specializations. The guy turned around to ask something, but the girl barked at him to look straight ahead and not turn around to face her. Mio looks at this situation and thinks about Kazuki's words against magic and the identity of the diva who gave him the enigma. The girl thinks that he is an idiot. The contract signing ceremony has finally begun. The newcomers are once again greeted by the student council president, Otanashi Kagwa. She announces that the students will now sign contracts with the divas. Lisa explains that now everyone will make a subconscious journey to a storm and go beyond the identity gate. There, they will meet the diva. Spelled from them, the student will facilitate the 4 steps of summoning and will be able to become a real magician. The process of summoning, confirmation, order targeting activation. Lisa warns the newcomers about the difficulty of searching for a diva in a storm, viewing the upcoming ritual as a serious test. Amasaki Mio is called first. Everyone is watching this closely. The ceremony is conducted by the president of the student council of the Magic Academy himself, Access. Order targetings. I know your names. The diva's name is Phoenix, a poet and a magician. The girl is enveloped in smoke that resembles flame. The clothes burn right on the body without causing any harm. Mio says that the diva is a songbird with a sweet voice that plays with consciousness. Another form appears on her body. Kazuki notices that it is a battle dress given to the chosen ones of the divas. He observes this process for the first time. As the president continues his speech, Amasaki Mio is shown wearing a dress that is assembled from tiny particles in real time. Descartes Bridgex Phoenix. After the ritual, Mio gains the ability to perform a level 1 summon, but is immediately stopped, warned against immediately summoning after deep penetration into a storm. After receiving the spell, Mio is freed from further connection to a storm. Returning to her normal form, she is embarrassed by her teacher's congratulations. The boy angrily reasons about it, just like Mio said in class. She just went and made a contract with the diva. Looking at her and remembering her face, he wonders if they have met before. A voice pulled him out of his thoughts. Mio, laughing at the boy, calls out number 14 Hayashizaki Kazuki and asks him to step forward. The boy in turn responded and did as he was told, standing with his back to Mio. Then he realized that something was wrong. Amasaki got angry about it. Kazuki met with Kagwa. She reminded him of his sister's words about the feud between mages and swordsmen. Kagwa believes that swordsmen and mages will not work together, covering each other's weaknesses. That way, they will never reach their true potential. Although no one listens to Kagwa. Looking at the boy, the girl says that he, a swordsman, can change this in a magic school. Kazuki, finding himself in a storm, thinks about the future diva who can change his life. Having received an offer to accept the power of transformation, he confirms his readiness by opening his eyes. Kazuki, although unsure about using force, is willing to commit himself completely to the contract with the diva, putting his own life on the line. The silhouette of a diva appeared. He makes a contract with the boy with a kiss. Kazuki didn't expect it, nor did anyone else. Kazuki will erase cautiously. Kagwa sees that the boy has summoned the girl. Amasaki Mio is completely disappointed by what she saw. Kazuki feels the warmth of the summoned girl's lips. His enigma has turned into stigma. After that, they fell to the ground. The diva, sitting on the guy, says that the contract is concluded. Confused, Kazuki wonders if this girl is really his diva. The guy turns to her and she calls out. Kazuki tells her that the girl is sitting on him without clothes. Jumping off quickly, the diva ran somewhere in search of clothes. A complete commotion began. The girl standing next to her does not understand why Liam is jumping around without clothes and giving her his clothes. Looking at the girl who gave Lemma the cape, he recognized her as Asmodeus's Descartes Bridgex. She shyly asks him not to stare at her. Seeing the girl dressed in Descartes Bridgex, Kazuki blushes and turns around. Realizing that his own costume is missing, he is at a loss. Lisa asks Liam about her affiliation with the Pillars of Solomon and the powers she has, but the diva denies having any powers. leaving the teacher confused. The diva yawned and said that she didn't understand anything, but really wanted to sleep. Having said goodnight, the diva fell to the ground. Kazuki yells at her to wait a minute. She changed his life, does Liam know it? He wants to know why she gave him this enigma. Lisa Westwood asks the boy to stop. The boy tells the professor that he needs to know, but the girl doesn't mean that. Drawing the boy's attention to the diva, the teacher says that she is already asleep. Kaguya turned to the professor, reporting that Kazuki did not make a contract with one of Solomon's pillars, wondering about the illegal contract. The professor replied that they would discuss it at the meeting. In the meantime, the diva would be taken to the medical room. It was Hayakari Kaioyuka's turn. Her diva name is Dikarteo Brigex Veparl. After the contract was fully concluded, the dust around her cleared and the rest of the students began to applaud her. Lisa Westwood watches this, realizing that the successful contractees are in this class. Amasaki Mio, Hikari Kaiyuki, and Hayashizaki Kazuki. There are only 3 of them. The young man is in the medical room where the sleeping Liam was taken. He looks at her, sleeping carefree. After all, he made a contract with an unknown diva, without Dikarteo Brigex and any power. Contracts with divas outside the list of the 72 Pillars of Solomon are prohibited. As such, divas may take control of the host's soul, making them an illegal mage. Kazuki feels depressed due to the unexpected and unnecessary power. The professor and Kaguya enter the medical room, announcing the decision made regarding him. Some of the staff don't trust Liam, and for now, the boy is an illegal magician. They decided that Kazuki and Liam will be under surveillance at the magic school. From now on, they will live in the witch's hut. Kaguya introduces the boy to the witch's hut, the student council's refuge. It looks scary and Kazuki will have to live there. The witch's hut appears to be nondescript from the outside, but the inside is luxurious and spacious, surprising Kazuki. The president explains that it is essentially a dormitory. The witch hut has a shared living room, kitchen, and bathroom. The girl also says that cleaning here is done by first-year students as a form of training. The young man said that there was nothing wrong with that, as he was used to doing housework. He even liked it. Kaguya was glad to hear that. Liam, sleeping on his back, calls out to the boy. She has an emergency. The boy does not understand what she means. Liam asked where the toilet was. He lowered her from his back and asked her to be patient for a while. Kazuki was surprised that divas also go to the toilet. The boy apologizes to his mentor. Kaguya replies that everything is fine, she will take her to the restroom herself. Kaguya shows Kazuki a spare room on the 2nd floor, warning him not to enter occupied rooms, and invites him to a party after changing clothes. The young man listens to what the student council president told him. He enters one of the rooms, but it is not empty. Upon entering the room, Kazuki finds Amasaki Mio, who is changing her clothes as if nothing had happened. The unexpected meeting with Mio caused confusion. Seeing Kazuki, she screamed and disappeared, and the 3rd inhabitant of the hut came to the noise. It turns out to be Hayakari Kaioyuka, who wonders why an E rank is here. Looking at her, Kazuki, panicking and stuttering, asks what's wrong with her clothes. Kaioyuka calmly explains that she's just in her house clothes, after which she asks him not to stare like that. Finding himself in Mio's bedroom, Kazuki barely managed to hide behind the door. But upon being discovered, he was faced with the anger and embarrassment of the naked owner of the room. Kazuki makes excuses, citing chance, while Mio explains that she lives there because of her high ranking, following the custom of first-year students living with the student council. The president came to the noise and didn't understand what was going on. Mio turned to her in anger and asked why an E rank was here. Kaguya reassures Mio that Kazuki will stay in the house and encourages everyone to mend their relationship. Mio's reaction is extremely emotional. Kaguya says she would like to start their welcoming party. Since the vice president is on a mission, they will wait for her. Kazuki asked about the task again and Mio addressed him, calling him an E rank and a laggard. He, after all, also needed to listen during the orientation speech. She explains to him that there are so-called guilds, in which apprentice mages can help the guards with their work. They form groups, destroy monsters, explore magical worlds, and catch illegal magicians. How well they complete their tasks determines their ranks. Duels between students also affect ranks. Kaioyuka, in other words, says that it is foolish to boast about your current rank or to worry about it. Kaguya is already a 2nd year, but the boy is curious about the seniors. Mio asks him if he listens to people at all. The boy is so tired that his head no longer works. Amasaki says that 3rd-year students travel around the country and visit the order's branches as interns. So if you catch them, you can consider it lucky. To the witch's hut and informed everyone in the mansion. Mio and Kazuki turned around to see who it was. The vice president returns, noting the presence of the 1st years. Kazuki recognizes her as the girl who handled the dragon at the ceremony. While studying the vice president's appearance, Kazuki noticed that the girl had a graceful and majestic face like the boy. The girl noticed Kazuki. She approached him, looking at him carefully, not forgetting to grab his hand. The vice president shouts with delight that there is a girl here who looks even more like a guy than she does. Spinning around like a top, the girl only talks about her cool face and strong physique. Comparing with a real guy. She holds Kazuki by the elbows and the guy, looking into her eyes and addressing her as a mentor, says that he is the guy. The vice president apologizes to Kaguya for the boy's presence, causing her to be scared. It turns out that the girl is afraid of men due to her lack of experience with them. The president forces her to stand up and formally introduce herself. The vice president, Hoshikaze Hikari, introduces herself with emotion and hesitation, reacting sharply to Kazuki's gaze, which makes the boy find her especially attractive. Liam appeared next to him, saying that the girl seemed worthy of a contract. The young man did not understand what she meant. At that moment, Hikari remembered that she had brought a lot of goodies, which made Kaguya very happy. The party has started. Kazuki goes up to his bedroom, realizing that a new stage of his studies has begun. Recognizing the unusualness of his new acquaintances, he hopes to establish good relations with them. In his room, Liam is sitting, telling him that he is late. Kazuki thought that she doesn't have her own room, but she just wants to talk without prying ears. The young man does not understand what they will talk about, because Liam has lost her memory. This is true, but Liam has vague memories of who she is and what her mission is. First, as her contractor, Kazuki must learn who she is. Liam's real name is the Lesser Key of Solomon Lemegeton, the demon god who rules over the 72 pillars. Kazuki is dumbfounded by what he heard. He thought that the Lemegeton was a magical book that everyone knew about. Diva explained that people were more accustomed to seeing her as a book. In reality, King Solomon was summoned through a contract with Lemegeton, the commander of his 72 pillars. This is the power of Liam. Liam's magic is Gosha. Gosha is a medieval ritual for summoning demons. The pillars that support the academy possess all 10 types of magic, 720 in total. Unimaginable power in Kazuki's hands. Liam states that Kazuki must conquer the hearts of the people, similar to his control over Solomon's pillars, or else his power will be useless. If, for example, Amasaki falls in love with a guy, then a connection will be established between them and Liam will draw out the power of the phoenix. However, if Kazuki is left alone without friends, then Liam will still be just a useless diva. The diva won't have any power unless he's unpopular. The young man thinks this is absurd. Not really. The divas of Solomon must share their knowledge with people. And when the branded magicians come of age, they will need someone to manage them. This is Liam's mission. And the reason she gave him this enigma, she says listen to her Hayashizaki Kazuki, diva will make him the king of the harem. Amasaki Mio, resting in her room, hoped for a touching reunion. It has been 5 years since that day. She is upset that Kazuki has forgotten her. The young man asks again about the harem king. Liam explains that the king unites everyone with his power of convergence. Without this, people will not be able to resist the gigantic will that will soon sweep through this world. Kazuki is wary. Individually, men are weak, so they exist to obey the king. This is the mission of Liam and the 72 pillars. And for this, he will need a harem, which will not be easy to create in a short time as the boy thinks. Not at all. Lemegeton must give him Descarteo Brigex suitable for creating a harem. An ornament appeared on his hand. It is none other than the Solomon's ring. It hears the hearts of girls, recognizes their feelings, and evaluates them. Lemegeton asks to activate the ring with his magic. A board appeared in front of the young man, showing all the girls who have a diva. These are the measured feelings of the girls that the guy has to seduce. The display shows their sympathy level. Amasaki Mio has the highest lickability level. Kazuki thinks there is definitely a mistake here. He doesn't realize that Mio is the first. She hates swordsmen and always makes him look like an idiot. Liam says that when the level exceeds 65%, the boy will receive the key to their hearts. Then he will be able to use the first level of diva summoning. Kazuki must win the affections of 65% of the population, starting with Amasaki Mio. Lemegeton convinces him not to worry, noting that the ring tracks changes in the heart. They become visible to Kazuki. Success is marked by hearts, failure by shards. If he sees the girl's hearts change, he can make them happy. Kazuki will be able to seduce any girl. The young man is now thinking about how he must make someone fall in love with him in order to become stronger. He doesn't hate girls and of course he's interested in them, but chasing them for power is unfair. The guy asked Liam if the level had to be love and not friendly. Diva replied that friendship is hard to create. Befriending all 72 would be even harder than making them fall in love with you. The boy stands his ground and says that he still prefers friendship to love. Liam stops reproaching. She says that if that is the king's wish, Lemegeton cannot force him. However, Lim will watch from a storeroom. She said everything and said that it was time to sleep, addressing him as a king. Kazuki asked again about his own room, but the diva said that she would sleep with her contractor and the king. Lim exists because of magic. The closer they are, the more stable her condition is. She says goodnight to the steadfast king. The boy, embarrassed, asked who she called steadfast. Mentally trying on the image of the harem king, Kazuki doubts the success of his plan. His thoughts are interrupted by the vibration of his phone, signaling a message. It was a message about Kanny going to bed and describing what she was wearing to bed. Big sister, as always. In the morning, with the living room filled with sunlight, Kazuki finishes cleaning and begins preparing breakfast, intending to impress his older friends with his diligence. Thinking about the task of increasing lickability, Kazuki checks the refrigerator's supplies, finding enough food to make dinner. Distracted, Kazuki noticed that Amasaki Mio had already woken up and came into the living room. Despite the high ring value, Kazuki's attempt to communicate with Mio failed. The girl passed by without paying attention. He carried the dish to the table and Amasaki turned to look at the food. It was karaj. Karaj is chicken fillet fried in oil. Kazuki says that he lived in an orphanage and the cook taught him how to cook this dish. He was distracted by something. He noticed a heart appearing near the girl. The Ring of Solomon has reacted. This is the power of Descartes Brigex that Lim spoke of. Looking closely at the ring, Kazuki wondered why now. He suddenly realized that Amasaki's favorite food was karaj. The boy asked her if it was boring to just look at the food and suggested that they try the dish together. Amasaki Mio angrily asks about him wanting to make her clean up afterwards. The boy did not quite understand her behavior. Mio, citing the difference in rank, refuses to help Kazuki, stating that his job is to serve her, which causes the boy's displeasure. He turned around silently and went back to cooking. Mio watched him as he worked. A smile appeared on her face. There they stood not far from each other. While Kazuki was diligently preparing the next dish, Amasaki stood behind him and smiled. The women praised the delicious fish, assuming that Kazuki caught it himself. After learning the truth, they highly appreciate the quality of the dish and the skill of the young cook. Hikari, tasting the dish, is surprised that the guy can cook so well. Maybe she won't be afraid of guys like that. While they are all eating together, Lim is mentally groaning at the king who won their stomachs, not their hearts. Kazuki is angry about this and demands that the diva disappear. The Ring of Solomon only announces the change in the girls' hearts. Contractors must attend 3 classes: mythology, martial arts, and magic control. As their name suggests, mythology studies myths and legends. Martial arts teach combat strategy. The Order's standard attack formation is called from heaven to earth. Magic control speaks for itself. Amasaki Mio tells the diva to dance with her wings and sow sparks. Let them circle the world of wind, become arrows flying through life. She asks to spread her wings and strike her enemies. Since they have already made a contract, Mio and Kyoyuka have mastered the first level of magic and are honing their skills in more complex summoning spells. The other students are also trying to make contracts with the divas. As for Kazuki, he successfully concluded his, but is still unable to perform summoning magic, so he is doing something else. The young man in front of a bucket of water tells him to spin, turn, and gain momentum. He's spinning water in a bucket. Professor Liz Lisa told him to train water magic, which is more suited to his powers. Apparently, if he learns to control fire and water, it will come in handy in a real battle. The girls watch the guy just sit there and stir the water in a bucket. They wonder about the real uselessness of his diva. Kazuki tries to focus. Someone came up to him and asked what he was doing here. Was stirring water in a bucket really an E-rank specialty? Turning his gaze, the boy replies that it is quite difficult. It spills out if you do not concentrate enough. Mio, expressing disdain for Kazuki's level, mockingly suggests using his sword to stir water, hinting at the uselessness of swordsmanship skills in combat. A spark of hatred appeared between them. Kazuki asks her what she thinks a sword is for. The blade will rust in water. Mio says that it concerns him too. She tells him to stop looking down on magic. Amasaki says that maybe he doesn't care about magic as long as he has the Hayashizaki family sword. She, on the other hand, can already use second-level summoning magic. It comes very easily to her. The boy is stunned by how quickly she is developing. At this rate, Mio will reach level 10 in no time. She proudly says that while the boy is playing with water, she will be cultivating with Phoenix. She will cause an explosive fear in all the illegal magicians around the world and become a national heroine. Kazuki asked about explosion. She's about to leave to train further. Come to think of it, the boy is far behind her. Amasaki finds it a little strange. Watching her go, Kazuki asks himself what she meant. In any case, starting tomorrow on weekdays in addition to housework, the young man plans to also train in magic. Lim, eating karaj, says that she has heard of it. She greedily eats these pieces of fillet one after another. It is very tasty to her. This is the joy of life in the mortal realm. Amasaki Mio proudly says that she hasn't eaten plebeian food for a long time. Such meat will never appear on the Amasaki family's dinner table. She has to condescend to acquire an E-rank servant. Kazuki smiles silently as he listens to Mio's comments and Lemegeton's advice, wondering why they always gather around the table, even to the point of the spirit appearing specifically for the sake of food. Addressing Kazuki as a servant, Mio refused to consider him a full member of the community, citing the food she was forced to eat. The boy watches Amasaki greedily eat the carriage and says it tastes terrible. Unbelievably terrible. Behind him, a girl says that she finds it very tasty. Ignoring Mio's comments, Kazuki turned his attention to Kyoyuka's gratitude for the treat, but the appearance of the mood change symbol prevented the proposal of a shared meal. This is Amasaki Mio, who orders him not to start talking to anyone else while she's eating with him. The guy apologized for that. Behind the girl, a classmate wanted to ask her and Kazuki about something. The guy has a displeased expression on his face. A classmate asked Amasaki about being friends with an E-rank. Blushing at the statement, Mio yells that it's not like that. She explains that she's on the student council and that the president gave her a servant. She asks her classmates not to misunderstand. The girl reassures her friends, explaining that an A-rank living with an E-rank in the witch's hut is not an unusual event. One of the girls asks Mio if she finds it disgusting that they study in the same class with a guy who can't even use magic. Amasaki stood in the middle of the classroom. Kazuki sat behind her, listening to what was happening. The girl was silent for a while, not giving an answer, but then agreed to her classmates' words. Mio added that they, the mages, don't need showy blades. Not only that, the E-rank youth also called swordsmanship his strong point. At first, Kazuki didn't react to this at all. The girl then said that Hayashizaki's style was trash compared to her phoenix. She also said that the swordsmen in this school were no different from cavemen swinging sticks. These words were like a knife in the back. It was the same during his introduction. He doesn't understand why Mio is mentioning his family. If she wants to make him look stupid, fine, but insulting people close to him is too much. The guy directed his piercing gaze at the girl. He would have used physical force if the opponent had been male, not female. They make eye contact and Amasaki asks him if he's going to say anything, or if he's just going to put up with it because he has nothing to say. Someone addresses the girls who are angry at the boy. It is the diva, who asks them who gave them the right to speak. Calling them worthless, the diva reminds them that they have not yet mastered even the weakest summoning magic. Having materialized, the diva Kazuki boasts of his swordsmanship and offers to prove it in a test, irritating the boy. Liam said that she doesn't remember much, but she is sure of one thing. Although Liam doesn't know why she chose Kazuki, the fact remains. The guy is far from weak. She whispers in his ear that this has nothing to do with the Ring of Solomon, nor with the level of subjugation. After all, Kazuki longs to meet them on the battlefield. He wonders about wanting to fight a mage simply as a swordsman. He is a mage and must cast aside his swordsman habits. The girls Liam insulted ask what they are whispering to the young man about. Kazuki can't let his loved ones be mocked any longer, that's why he went this far. He wants to make them change their minds about swordsmen. The boy stands in front of Amasaki Mio, and in response to her insults, he says that he is forced to challenge her to a duel. If Kazuki wins, then she takes back all the words condemning the Hayashizaki family. The girl quietly answered him that the young man had not changed at all since then. She accepts the challenge and says that she will wait for him after school. Amasaki Mio and Hayashizaki Kazuki ask Kagwa-san for permission to duel. The president does not understand the reason for their discord, because they should not fight each other. Someone shouts that this is what was expected from the young man. Kani exclaims that the time has come to show the mages Kazuki's power, believing that he intends to destroy the magical community from within. Torazu, who has let his guard down, suffers from the delay. Kazuki gently chides Kani for her family attachment, which distracts her from her duties. Kani gives her brother the sword Dufu, caring for his safety. Dufu is Kazuki's legendary sword, created through alchemy and known for its durability and sharpness, given to him by his adoptive father as a sign of his coming of age. Kazuki decided to become a mage because of the enigma, but in the end he is a swordsman. The young man has been training for this his entire adult life. Kani playfully asks for a kiss, but Kazuki is embarrassed by the scene in front of the audience, who consider their interaction to be family fun. Amasaki Mio came to her senses and said that it didn't matter what he fought with, a sword or a skewer. She wants to start a duel, which Kazuki undoubtedly agrees with. Kagwa prevents the duel from starting, but the fencing club president intervenes, supported by Kani, who motivates her brother to put in the effort. Rumors have already spread throughout the academy about the upcoming battle between a mage and a swordsman. A fight between two newcomers. The event is already starting and everyone is gathering to watch it. It was decided that the unplanned duel would take place on the territory of the University of the Magic Division. A lot of people gathered around the area. Amasaki Mio cast a spell to summon her diva, Phoenix. The girl managed to gain more powerful strength during the entire training. Having transformed into the battle outfit of her diva, the girl says that there was no need for the students to come to the duel, which will last no more than a second. Hayakari Kyoyuke acts as a second in the duel between Amasaki Mio and Hayashizaki Kazuki. The girl announces the start of the battle. Kazuki estimates the distance between him and his opponent. They are 50 meters apart. On command, Kazuki quickly rushes forward, astonishing the audience with his speed, while Kagwa studies his tactics. Despite being a master swordsman, this distance is more than enough to summon. Mio activates Barret. Kazuki sees this attack and easily dodges it. The girl does not understand how this is possible. For the boy, it is simple. Cyclops is a nickname Kazuki received when he was a swordsman. Kanny tells this fact to Kagwa. Mio thinks the guy is joking and activates Barret again. The sister explains that the ordinary swordsman Ei can predict the enemy's intentions and movements. Hayashizaki's style is able to read the flow of magic. If you can predict the enemy's transition from an action to action, the speed of the enemy's attack does not matter. Amasaki Mio's chances to dodge would vanish once the blade left its sheath. Kazuki was as close as he could get to his opponent and was about to strike. Hayashizaki's style Ei takes milliseconds. Amasaki Mio didn't even have time to react to being attacked. With one blow, the girl flies to the side. It was a lightning attack, but Mio does not want to lose. She does not want to lose to the swordsman style that she despises with all her heart. Mio activates the summoning of the Master of Flame. Amasaki gets down on all fours and casts a spell out loud. Rays of light start to appear on the ground towards Kazuki. The patterns merge to form a huge pentagram under the boy's feet. With the patterns spreading across the ground like snakes, Mio was able to summon the Flame Emperor. Flames appeared from the ground like geysers and were meant to burn the boy to ashes. The enemy is amazed by Kazuki's ability to dodge the fire and remain unharmed, while standing at the site of the explosion. The girl only had time to think that the enemy had once again dodged her magic, when she began to be covered with numerous attacks. Second Hayakaru Kyoyuke, who had been watching the fight the entire time, stopped the duel. Amasaki Mio is sitting on the ground. The girl announces that Hayashizaki Kazuki has won this fight. A deal is a deal. Mio will stop insulting his family. The people who were watching the battle were amazed. Kanny demonstrated that many people underestimate swordsmen. People are too fascinated by divas and have forgotten their true strength. She tells Kagwa that she is looking forward to the next interdivision competition. Kanny and Kagwa will have a lot of fun there. A shocked Amasaki Mio shouts that she has not given up yet. This attracts people's attention again. Kazuki yells at her to calm down and finally admit that Hayashizaki's style is not weak. The girl refuses to do this. She believes that this style of fencing is weaker than her summoning magic. She calls the style trash. The boy reminds him that they had a duel for this, but he notices that Amasaki is crying with her head down. She asks how Kazuki could not remember her. Her tears fall on her legs. The girl asks him to leave her alone. Mio raised her head, tears streaming down her cheeks. She looked straight into Kazuka's eyes and shouted that she lived in the Nanohana house with him. The Nanohana house was an orphanage. Kazuki lived there until he was adopted by the Hayashizaki family. There was a girl who always followed him around like a little sister. He realized that her name was Mio. The defeated Mio is sad, but Kazuki recognizes her and remembers her childhood years, causing the girl to protest against the nickname Little. He concluded that since they met again, the boy had been hurting her. She cries and screams that Kazuki abandoned her, left and forgot about the girl's existence. The guy stands in front of her, sitting and crying on the ground. He feels terrible. He thinks he's terrible. Amasaki stood up from the ground and wiped away her tears. The girl was about to leave, but turned around and told Kazuki to take note that she would never forgive the Hayashizaki family for taking Kazuki away from her. 5 years ago, Kazuki left the Nanohana house because he was strong, and Amasaki Mio was left alone again. But soon after, the girl was also taken in because of her magical abilities. She convinced herself that magic was stronger than Hayashizaki's style, thus trying to overcome her loneliness. But Mio was wrong. Hayashizaki Kazuki is strong and his older brother behavior hasn't changed at all. Mio watched him. She herself knows that it's stupid to sulk for so long, but she's really happy to meet him again. Amasaki Mio returned to the witch's hut. She took off her uniform, lay down on her bed and cried quietly. Kazuki came to her door and told her that dinner was ready. Through a closed door, Kazuki convinces Mio not to skip dinner by calling himself a butler. But the girl resists and demands to be left alone. Without any warning, Hayashizaki enters the room where the girl is whining on the bed. He orders her to eat his food. He sees an attractive picture before him, but not that attractive. Throughout the witch's hut, they turned away from each other. Mio wrapped herself in a blanket and asked about the guy worrying about her even now. Kazuki turned around and said he was worried. He really couldn't let her miss dinner. Amasaki thinks that the boy still cares about her. The girl says that she is still angry with him, so she does not want to eat his cooking. Then Kazuki suggests another option. He is willing to become her servant again as before. Mio thought about it. She reminds him that she lost the duel with him. Kazuki bows and addresses Amasaki as his mistress, informing her that the servant has prepared the meal and asks her to get dressed quickly. Mio blushes as she watches this. She turned away and said that nothing could be done and that she was not angry with him at all. She was his mistress now. Kazuki raised his head and smiled. The girl added that she would reward her servant for his loyalty to her. The guy sighed in relief, but the next moment, Amasaki Mio turned to him with a gloomy face. Pointing her finger and embarrassed, the girl says that Kazuki is still his humble servant and will remain so forever. She forbids him to leave her again. The next day, Amasaki Mio prepared Hayashizaki's bento. Even though he is her servant, she lost to him yesterday. Opening the bento, the boy noticed that the dish was carrot. Mio asks about how the dish was seasoned in the Nanohana household. She had never been able to make carrot properly. After proposing to cook carrot together, Kazuki makes it a condition that they dress as maids, which causes confusion and laughter among his classmates, who perceive them as friends. Outraged by the rumors, Mio defends Kazuki, calling him her servant and threatening to punish her classmates who laugh at the situation. Listening to the comments of those around her, Mio notices Kazuki's smile and asks why, to which the boy happily offers her friendship. The girl blushed because she hadn't said anything to make him happy. It couldn't be helped. She let him stay on her side. Kazuki believes that the girl can't be completely honest, but that someday they will become friends again, like they were back in Nanohana's house. Suddenly, the boy noticed a beam from his ring to the girl's heart. Kazuki had reached level 65. He had obtained the key to her heart. The boy now understood what Ki Liam was talking about. From now on, he was no longer useless as a mage with stigma. Amasaki Mio and Hayashizaki Kazuki are shopping for food. The girl says that he is acting tough. Approaching him, she said that as the hostess, she would help him. Behind them were her classmates who recognized Amasaki-san. The people around him noticed the warm atmosphere between Kazuki and Mio, mistaking them for a couple. An indignant Mio accuses the guy of being overly happy, and his ring records an increase in sympathy to 67%. Mio and Hayashizaki are cooking in the kitchen. The younger brother is cutting vegetables and Mio-san is putting them in a bowl. Their hands touched and they immediately became embarrassed. The president and vice president are watching them from behind, from around the corner. Kagwa thinks they look like a newlywed couple. Hikari thinks it's cute since she wouldn't turn down something like that herself. Noticing the observers, Mio whispers to Kazuki about the need for action, but he only treats her to a spoonful of the dish, giving her pleasure from the taste. Amasaki shouts that he will call the dish Golden Myosaga Curry. Kazuki thought about how the dish for others would be a little sweet. He turns towards the doorway and calls out to Hayakari Kayoyuka. The girl peeked out and asked what was wrong. The boy offered to try the curry and held out a spoon. Kayoyuka said that Kazuki shouldn't make it just for her. He holds a spoon with curry and waits for her to try it because he wants her to like it too. Kayoyuka agrees. She said that the curry was a little sweet, although the taste was very good. The girl smiled. Kazuki said that he would add more spices with chili peppers, but for him and Amasaki Mio, he would leave everything as is. Mio's joy at sweets increases her sympathy towards Kazuki. Kagwa appears and announces the upcoming interdivision competition. It is a grand event where the magic and fencing divisions engage in demonstration duels for the entertainment of newly admitted students and ordinary citizens. The student council president announces that the divisional competition will begin next Sunday, and they need to choose one newcomer. Amasaki Mio wanted to volunteer, but Kagwa stopped her, saying that the girl had already participated in a duel. This time, Hayakara Kayoyuka would go. The girl is angry that she will not participate in the competition, but this is the president's decision. Kazuki supports her to calm her down. Into the witch's hut, the teachers told her that there was a residence near the school that she shouldn't go near. Her sister was crying, outraged that Kazuki lives in such a place. Just think, a guy in the prime of preoccupation, living with women and not having her around. The young man explained that Kagwa slept with her because he had nowhere to go. Kani yells that this is unacceptable and that Kazuki should immediately transfer to the swordsman division. She is stopped by Kagwa. The student council president says that it's up to the magic division staff. Kazuki can't just transfer out. Kani gave her a sly look and a smirk. Kanny shows a document signed by a majority of the teachers, granting Kazuki the right to transfer to the fencing division at his own request. Kaguya was upset by this action. Kanny, telling her brother that they should now go to the fencing division, wanted to take his hand but no. Kazuki declines the transfer, explaining that he values his time in the magic division and the significant role the Hayashizaki family played in his life. Kanny has tears in her eyes because her brother rejects her. She yells at him for not listening to his older sister. Kazuki yells back that her position as older sister has suddenly become very convenient. They are distracted by Mio. Amasaki-san asks the president about who she thinks she is. The girl commands her servant as she pleases. Whether Kanny is the older or younger sister, Mio will not allow this. The fencing division student council president asks a newcomer about her problems. She reminds her that rank is not an indicator. The conflict between Kanny and Kazuki worries Kaguya. Kanny justifies her desire to transfer her brother by bolstering the confidence needed by weak students in both divisions. If the brother stays, the mages will learn to respect the art of fencing and the fencing division. Kanny doesn't deny Kaguya's words, but she reminds him that Kazuki can't use summoning magic, so the magic division isn't his place. Sister says that if Kaguya insists, they can test his magical abilities in a duel next week during the interdivision competition. To them, apologizing. A girl peeked in, asking if the fencing division student council president was here. Everyone turned to look at her. Kanny wanted to say that the girl was just in time, but she didn't have time. The door clicked and the girl left. Kanny runs after the girl screaming, ordering her not to run away from her. Mio, Kazuki, and Kaguya watch silently. The older sister returns back to the mansion with the girl who was looking for her, but after finding her, she ran away. Kanny introduces her close friend and second in command of the swordsman, Kamizumi Ayori, to the audience, mentioning the upcoming duel. She says that if Kazuki can defeat Ayori without a weapon, only with summoning magic, Kanny will acknowledge her brother as a skilled magician. Kaguya is shocked by the idea of a duel where Kazuki, who defeated magic with a sword, must now win a sword versus magic battle. The future opponent is worried when he hears the news, and Kanny smiles mischievously. Kamizumi, being Kanny's student, mastered the techniques of the Hayashizaki family style: reading intent, seeing magic, and instant attack. If this is a normal duel, simple magical attacks like Barret might work. The boy watched the girls leave. Kanny hurries Ia-chan because Tarazu will scold them again. Kaguya tries to prevent the duel, but Kanny insists that a victory will enhance the swordsman's reputation. Mio reacts sarcastically to her future opponent. Kaguya reports with annoyance that the whole situation has turned out quite badly. They have thrown down a challenge that they cannot ignore. The president comments that Kanny is quite simple and impulsive, but her cunning side can be very annoying. Hikari is alerted by the smell of burning coming from the kitchen, causing a general commotion over the burnt curry. While training after school, Kazuki proves that Lim is capable of replicating others' magical abilities by displaying a copy of Mio's attack and disproving his diva's initial assessment as useless. Lisa advises Kazuki to hide the source of his powers, emphasizing the power of Lemageddon and recommending not to spread information about its capabilities. She told Kazuki to tell everyone that Lim can copy low-level summoning magic. Kaguya asked why only Phoenix. She wondered why the boy couldn't use her Asmodeus. The boy says they're just not compatible. The president bets they can make it work if she practices a little. Mio came up behind him and patted him on the shoulder. She was embarrassed by the words that they were compatible. They had the same magic and the girl was ready to help him. Kazuki realizes that one attack is not enough to win, and Lim suggests getting closer to the girls to master higher spells. Thoughts are interrupted by a caring Mio offering juice. Lim points out to the boy that Mio's level of affection is so high that she herself has begun to approach him. The girl, embarrassed, says that she must protect and take care of her servant. Kazuki should appreciate his mistress's kindness. The boy tells Mio that summoning magic is more difficult than he expected. The boy thought that her diva was doing all the work or something like that. Amasaki-san lets the boy rest until tomorrow if he has used up all his energy, and then continue training. Kazuki happily agrees, saying that he is free for the coming weekend. They sit on either side of the bench and drink juice together. Silence surrounds them, no one knows what to talk about. Amasaki-san is also free on the weekend. Lim advises Kazuki to ask Mio out on a date, improving their liking. Kazuki awkwardly asks the girl about her food preferences and suggests going to a restaurant, causing her great embarrassment. Skull appeared above Amasaki's head, indicating major changes in the girl's heart for the worse. Lim called the king an idiot. Mio snorted at his words, asking why on earth she should keep him company. Kazuki reminded her that the girl herself said that she also had nothing to do on the weekend. She asked why the girl should hang out with him in her free time. Although if he can come up with a better reason, Mio won't mind. Kazuki asks to let him think and starts going through the options. The price for defeat is the cost of dinner, and Kazuki, trying to make up for his past mistake, promises to fulfill any wish of Mio, provoking a discussion about a possible date and increasing the guy's embarrassment. He turned away, saying that he wanted to be friends with Mio, like he had been back then. Embarrassed, Mio agrees to go on a date with Kazuki, understanding his persistence and agreeing to support the game. Mio firmly states that their meeting does not count as a date until Kazuki, while exercising in the park, attracts the attention of an unseen observer. The mysterious figure was on the roof of the house. No one noticed it. This man is happy that he finally found Kazuki. Amasaki Mio takes a relaxing shower. She remembers Kazuki's words about friendship and laughs, saying that nothing can be done about brotherly love. She will play with it all day. Hayashizaki is standing near the fountain. Mio hasn't arrived yet. The girl said that she doesn't want the mentors to spy on them, so they decided to meet somewhere else. While the guy is thinking about this, his cheeks are flushed. He realizes that he is a little nervous before the meeting. A girl called out to him. It was Amasaki Mio, apologizing for being late. The boy likes the way the girl looks. The guy looks just below the eyes. The girl thought he was looking at the feather and said that the decoration suited her phoenix very well. He has a diamond eye. Pointing her finger at Kazuki, Mio yells that he is dressed too casually. But it's well put together. A fashion magazine would be very useful right now. The young man says that the girl has some kind of obsession with making strange associations with food. She reminds him that this is not a date. Kazuki is just accompanying her like a princess for the day. Mio shouts that it's time to move. A man's worth is determined by the shops he chooses. Kazuki steers her in another direction. Amasaki yells that he is escorting her incorrectly. He doesn't know how to do it correctly, and Mio demonstrates. First, he must offer her his hand. Noticing Kazuki's nervousness, Mio teaches him proper gentlemanly behavior by placing his hand on her waist. Mio laughs at the boy's blush becoming even more intense. Kazuki counterattacks and says that the girl herself has a face like a tomato. Their Tokyo district, destroyed by mages and reborn as an alchemical center, is known for its many shops and workshops, becoming a world leader in alchemy and a government base. However, some parts of the city are still in ruins, and trouble awaits those who turn into a dark alley. In these places, members of the Order and students of the Magic Division or anyone with a stigma become targets of illegal magicians. The so-called stigma hunt. While they're having fun here, maybe Kazuki didn't take the sword for nothing. Mio scolds the boy for looking back all the time and not performing his function properly. As they passed by the alley, Kazuki noticed a kitten and they looked at it. Mio meowed like a cat but then fell silent. They looked like two tomatoes again. Amasaki said she was joking, but Kazuki thought it was cute. They had dinner at a restaurant. The young man visits restaurants on weekends for his pocket money. He wants to improve his cooking. A waiter approached them with a special offer for couples. Kazuki said that they were interested in it. Mio was fed up. She exclaims that they are not a couple, but the guy offers to become her for a free special cheesecake with cream. The cake only comes with one fork, and the icing says the girl is writing a message in syrup and feeding it to her boyfriend while saying, "Open your mouth." The waiter asks Amasaki to show her true feelings. Mio draws the word fool on the cake. The waitress thought it was some kind of emotional display. Now Mio has to spoon feed him. Kazuki tried and said it was the princess's turn. Mio screams that she won't do it, but she gave in. The young man scooped up some cake with a spoon and asked Amasaki to open her mouth. The girl blushed in embarrassment. They spent time in the restaurant and it was time to leave. The girl came out happy and grabbed Kazuki's hand herself. They went to a clothing store. They tried on different outfits and jewelry. The level of sympathy became higher and higher each time. The boys lost track of time. It was already quite late. The princess's escort was already ending. What they were doing was fun with friends. And even if he asked her out as a friend, it wouldn't be like the time they spent today. Kazuki wanted to tell her something, but the girl asked him to wait a little. As she ran away, she ordered him not to move away even a step. Kazuki notices the pursuit and the disturbing atmosphere of the area. Then a girl quietly runs up to him, dreaming of having a private conversation with him. He turned around. The girl thought that she shouldn't disturb the couple and asked about their relationship. If they were dating, she would be upset. It was Oni. Fearing a trick, Kazuki cautiously approaches the girl, whose appearance matches his childhood memory except for the hair color, holding back the rush of feelings. The girl noticed Mio's return. He asked her to wait a second and told her real name. The girl's name is Kaya. Amasaki returned, clutching a small bag. Her joy was interrupted by Kazuki asking about the Nanohana house. Mio hadn't been there since her adoption. The guy said that he had just met Kaya, but she had silver hair. Amasaki-san is shocked. She remembers her with black hair. Perhaps the boy imagined it. The girl he met did not look like Kaya at all. He was interrupted from his thoughts by Mio, who held out the gift. She said that he could open it now. Inside was a ruby silver, the latest thing. After all, Kazuki could use Phoenix magic too. The girl reached out to him to fasten the ornament on the guy's neck. Kazuki looked away. Now there was a similar feather on his chest like hers. The girl allows him to thank her if he wants, and asks for a reward, hoping that he will give it to her. They both want to apologize. Kazuki, smiling, asks to be allowed to accompany her some other time like today. The girl's sympathy reaches its peak. Kazuki realizes the depth of his own feelings, gently touching her shoulder, causing her emotions to intensify. Kazuki picked up the girl and jumped away from the boulder that landed on the spot where they were standing. This is not ordinary magic. Hayashizaki Kazuki realized that this was an illegal magician, or more precisely, a stigma hunter. Holding Amasaki Mio in his arms, Kazuki looks at the stigma hunter. There was a whole ambush during their date. The guy activates a stone projectile. With his magic, he lifts large stones from the ground. He attacks the boys without using any spells. Kazuki asks Mio to hit back with her magic while he dodges the illegal mage. Amasaki screams that she can't concentrate in this situation. The boy's arms are numb from the weight of the girl he insulted with the word fat, although she is only noticeably heavier than his sword. His strength is depleted after training, and he is unable to restore his stamina. A pile of rocks flew at them. Kazuki had to throw the girl off of him. Mio stood up, asking him if his blade was really cuter than her. Amasaki stood in front of the young man, saying that she could handle it just fine. A huge boulder flies at them, leaving no trace of them. The girl at that moment dictates a spell. Mio held out her hand and easily stopped the huge boulder. Amasaki-san had achieved the 3rd level of Phoenix magic, Sacrifice. Mio activates the attack Barret. The illegal mage, or as he can also be called, the stigma hunter, stomped on the ground and a titan wall appeared in front of him, stopping all the projectiles launched by the girl. Amasaki-san is determined and will not give up. This attitude is madly appealing to the guy who is eager to receive the stigma. Kazuki attacks quickly, preventing Mio from using magic, but her attacks are useless against him. Without weapons and magic, the guy is confused and does not know how to get out of the impasse. Kaguya appeared, who came to help in time. Hayashizaki did not expect her to appear. The president casts a spell. A powerful mage summoned a shadowy ghost that looked exactly like a shark, but was 20 times larger than a human. The gloomy ghost pounces on its victim, giving no chance for survival. The heart-rending scream of this illegal is heard. Kaguya, approaching the place where the guy was standing, said that he had escaped again. The president was here because it was a mission. He was an illegal mage nicknamed Earth Snake. Hikari tried to deal with him, but he kept escaping. Kaguya explained that the superfast casting is achieved through a special contract, an obsession that allows the diva to be sealed inside the mage, reducing energy costs and making it easier to cast spells. But already possessed, the diva devours their mental essence with each spell. The Earth Snake will soon lose control as well. The president thought that one good blow would be enough to dispel the illegal's magic, but he slipped away again. Instead of stopping him, Kaguya believes that she should kill him right away with Guernica. In other words, with Hellfire. Kazuki asked his mentor if she had ever killed. The girl, after a short silence, said that this would be her first. Kaguya changed the subject. She talked about how beautiful the starry night was and asked if they were returning home from a date. While the girls were chatting, Kazuki noticed Descartes rejects Kaguya. He's showing too much. Suddenly, the boy gets hit by a fist from Mio. Amasaki asks him not to make eyes at the boy with that look. Kaguya says that he shouldn't stare because this is a battle outfit for fighting. They returned home. Kazuki is surprised by the lack of new spells after reaching affection level 100. Remembering how easy it was to summon Barret, he wonders if he missed an important step. Lemegeton offers a temporary conclusion of a magical bond with a simple touch, regardless of the level of sympathy. The guy is puzzled why this method was not voiced earlier, inquiring about the nature of the necessary contact. And the diva explained that through a kiss. With a kiss, the magical connection becomes stronger. During this time, he will be able to use their level of summoning magic. It will be very easy to win the duel. Kazuki can't do that, it's against his principles. Liam doesn't persuade him but says that once the extended connection becomes immune, this trick never works twice. It can be saved for emergencies. While the guy was thinking about who bought into such logic, someone called his name. Judging by the voice, it seemed like it was Kaguya. Standing behind the door was the student council president at Descartes Bridgex. It looks a little strange, but Kazuki let her enter the room. When he turned his back, the girl fell on him with her whole body. She caught and turned the boy over so that Kaguya was now sitting on top. The young man noticed that the teacher had purple eyes, which meant that she was not the real Kaguya. Kazuki struggled with himself to resist. He understands that it might come to this. There's nothing to be done. Kazuki is forced to use the trick he saved for Kanny. The young man warned and apologized in advance for what he would do. His two palms quickly approached the girl's face. Kaguya came to her senses. She cried and apologized for it. Asmodeus also controls lustful desires, so when she summons him, this side effect occurs. Sometimes she gets amused. She didn't mean to do such a thing. Kaguya just wants to be his friend, not because he's a guy or anything. The student council president asks her not to think anything bad about her. The girl respects personal boundaries. Kazuki thanks her for her support at school and her belief in the possibility of uniting the magical and fencing directions. Kaguya has always been very kind to him. The young man could not dream of more, so he asks the girl not to worry about it, and not to consider him so low as to disregard the good intentions of the mentor. The president hugged Kazuki, telling him that in fact, she was truly worried about him. Kaguya is disappointed by Kazuki's high expectations, considering her behavior selfish. Their confidential dialogue raises her sympathy to 65%. The rogue mage tells Akira to leave Mia and Kazuki alone. A girl appears from the shadows, claiming that she is pursuing them to return to the past and insisting on killing them herself because they are important to her. Akira didn't expect to say that. She doesn't understand what's going on. It's like her head has split into two. She asks the illegal mage what he did to her. The girl screams and asks for her sanity to be restored. Hayashizaki Kazuki shouts that it's time to move. It's Sunday, which means the upcoming duel will determine his fate. The stadium is full of spectators waiting for the spectacle. Lisa tasks the girl with maintaining the protective barrier, announcing a public competition demonstrating the magical arts to ordinary citizens of the city. Kaguya criticizes the decision to invite the public, fearing the infiltration of stigma hunters, calling the organizers frivolous. Kanny jokingly claims that her friend is being overly concerned. Kazuki ponders the high affinity level that prevents him from using magic except for Barrett. The club president interrupts his thoughts by asking how he is feeling. The girl sadly reminds the boy that if he loses, he will leave the magic division. Kazuki reassures her that he can handle even just Barrett. He asks her to stop blaming herself. Instead of this sadness, he would prefer that the mentor smile at him cheerfully. Kaguya shouts that she will smile at him with all her might. The conversation was interrupted by first-year swordsman Yamada Torazu, who was amazed by Kazuki's victory over the magical stigma with a single sword. He expressed his respect, noting Kazuki's exceptionalism. Torazu was inspired by Kazuki's victory over the mage, deciding to put in maximum effort in his duel. He asked for advice before the fight. The guys shook hands and promised to give it their all. Mio arrived and found them beaming and exchanging cheerful glances. At the interdivision competition, Hayakari Kayawuki acts as a reviewer and judge. She welcomes all the guests and participants who have come to this event. The girl announces that they are starting the academy match. On the side of the magic division, the first battle will be performed by the vice president Hoshikaze Hikari, representing the magicians. The girl is already in her battle outfit di Carteo Brigex Bala. Kazuki recognizes the deity Hikari as the corrupted god Baal-Zeval, also known as Beelzebub. The swordsman is represented by the nervous newcomer Torazu. The match begins with the official announcement by Kyoyuka. As soon as the start was announced, Torazu rushed forward while simultaneously reading the actions of Hoshikaze Hikari, who had already finished her summoning. She used a powerful attack that contained lightning bolts. Having anticipated this, Torazu easily dodged the attack. The representative of the fencing division approached Hoshikaze Hikari and swung his sword to deliver a crushing blow to the swordsman. Torazu failed, as Hikari could foresee this and managed to use defensive magic. The guy does not give up and wants to strike again. He failed as the representative of the magic division began to dictate a spell, causing a thunderstorm to arise. To avoid defeat, Torazu plans to close the distance to his opponent. However, while trying to dodge, he finds the girl already behind him, preparing an electric shock. Hoshikaze attacked Torazu, knocking him back with a blow. Trying to defend himself, he was bound by a spell. Hikari chanted a formula, summoning thunder energy and weapons. She materializes a hammer and is about to use Yagurumi's crushing attack. Hikari shouts that Torazu tried to dodge the attack this time, if he can do so while tied up. A microphone flew into the back of Hoshikaze Hikari's head and hit a certain spot. The vice president fell to the ground, and a simple microphone was thrown at her by Hayakari Kyoyuka, who is hosting this match. She reminded the vice president that if you use 8th tier summoning magic on a person, they will die. Hikari, who was feeling a little dizzy, apologized because she got a little carried away. In any case, the winner is the first member of the Magic Division Student Council, Hayashizaki Hikari. Torazu, sitting on the ground, breathed a sigh of relief. At first he thought he could win, but it turned out to be impossible. Kanny approached him and said that Torazu was good for his level. The president of the swordsmen is amazed by Hikari's quick victory. After informing her colleagues that she is ready to enter the duel, she warns them of the seriousness of their intentions. While one team prepares to fight, Kazumi quietly leaves the group of friends. The next match is announced to be between the vice president of the swordsmen, Kazumi Iori, and the representative of the magic division, Kazuki Hayashizaki, both of whom welcome the meeting. Hayakari Kyoyuki announced the start of the match. Kazumi Iori rushed forward, going on the attack. The boy uses Barret. The girl easily dodged the numerous projectiles the boy used. She reduced the distance between them to a minimum. The vice president attacks again and again, but Hayashizaki Kazuki dodges each swing of her sword. Using the momentum, he pushes off her weapon and flies into the air. From a bird's eye view, the boy activates Barret again. This attack is too easy because Kazumi dodges it. There is a buzz and whisper in the stands. The people couldn't see them. A stunning fight that could last a long time. Yori realizes that her opponent was able to dodge all of her blows in close combat. If this had been a normal sword fight, she wouldn't have had a chance. Hayashizaki Kazuki understands that the girl has the advantage, but for now they are in hand-to-hand combat. If the battle drags on, the guy will run out of magical power. The Magic Division Student Council president shouts from the stands. Kagwa yells at him to use her summoning magic, citing their excellent compatibility. Amasaki also tries to support him, but her voice is too quiet. The guy laughs, saying that they will soon intervene in the battle themselves. Hayashizaki Kazuki noticed that the sympathy level has increased. He feels that it is still not enough. But if the girls believe in it with all their hearts, then he should believe it too. The guy also wants to increase their level of sympathy. Suddenly, the boy established a new magical connection. Asmodeus' spell penetrates his mind. With the current level of sympathy, the boy can use the strongest level of magic. Kazumi Iori attacks him again. Her attacks are nothing to the guy because he dodges. Stopping, Kazuki began to cast a new summoning spell. The black tentacles suddenly attacked the girl, making her think about her opponent's new tactics. Kazuki realized the importance of mutual trust in order to activate sympathy magic. The boy will keep the love that everyone gives him in his chest and believe in it. Kazuki dictates a new spell. Kagwa notices that the boy's magical power is growing exponentially. Kanny shouts at Iori that the spell must be interrupted. These strong bonds are the boy's strength. Amasaki Mio noticed that the boy was already level 5. That's how the swordsman in him uses Phoenix Wing magic. Hayashizaki finished chanting. He used the attack Blazing Wings. The vice president of the fencing division was struck by bright fire. Due to such a powerful attack, Kazumi Iori was sent flying far back. The crowd in the stands was shocked. Many people opened their mouths in surprise. Hayakari Kyoyuki stopped the fight. Kazuki is declared the winner, realizing the importance of team support. Realizing the uncontrollability of the final attack, he checks on Kazumi's condition, receiving an apology for the burns. Hayashizaki Kazuki extended his hand to help her up. The girl thanked him, extending her hand in return. The vice president of the fencing division wanted to say something to him, but Kyoyuki interrupted her, calling the guy just a jeweler's precision. The last attack burned the opponent's clothes. Iori ran away. Amasaki Mio and Atanashi Kagwa approached the boy to remind him that the boy had won thanks to his hard work. Hayashizaki Kazuki turned to his older sister. He stated that he was staying in the magic division. Kanny looked away and said that after demonstrating the level of his summoning magic, she had nothing to say against him. The boy thanks her. The Magic Division Student Council has become a very important place for him. He feels a sense of satisfaction and peace. Akira appeared behind him, having lost her mind. She asks how Kazuki could trade her for this important position. The girl says that it is cruel. Hayashizaki turned to the source of the voice. Akira persistently investigates the reason why Kazuki allied with the mages, feeling disgusted by such an alliance. Promising not to limit her power in the future, she expresses disappointment in Kazuki's actions. What's important is the place the guy traded Akira for. The girl promises to destroy. A monster appears from the darkness. Hayashizaki Kazuki looks at Kaya in shock. He wanted to ask her something, but the girl was in the air and summoning a dragon. The giant dragon Nyahoke Fafnir appeared, and was ordered to destroy all the annoying bugs around Hayashizaki Kazuki. Lisa Westwood has created a fog with telekinetic magic. This will buy them some time. She orders the audience to evacuate and orders the mages and swordsmen to counterattack with the double strength of both divisions. The president of the swordsmen is puzzled by the need for magic against a dragon. The elder sister hands her brother a sword, assuring him that one blade will ensure victory. The remaining stigmas arm themselves, intending to destroy the enemy. Amasaki Mio wanted to fight the dragon and called the young man, but he stopped her, saying that their opponent was Kaya. A fierce battle is taking place in the arena. Hayashizaki Kazuki asks Kaya why she got involved with forbidden magic. The girl says that ever since Kazuki and Mio left the academy, she has been very lonely and sad. According to her, only this diva consoled her and gave her the strength thanks to which she could be close to him again. The girl says she is happy. She was able to reunite with Hayashizaki Kazuki. Then, like a record, she repeats that she is happy. Akira rejoices at the opportunity to kill, forming an unusual sword with crocodile teeth. Kazuki, seeing the blue longsword, doubts her sword training until she attacks. After dodging the blow, Kazuki notices the lack of preparation in Akira's movements, as if the sword was acting on its own. After receiving a second blow, the boy manages to draw his own blade. The girl shows the boy her power. Kazuki and Mio left her behind. The boy feels that she is strong. He wonders which diva Kaya made a contract with. Amasaki Mio shouts at him that it makes no difference that his opponent is a sword. The girl asks why he hesitates. Mio uses Barret. Akira easily stopped all the projectiles. She told Mio that this blade is a sacred treasure that will reflect all her shots. The rivals activated Muspelheim, the world of fire in Norse mythology. Akira wants to kill everyone at once. Ringing voice of the mermaid, show your chilling feelings. Sadness will become snowflakes and loneliness will turn into a gentle snowfall. Let the world be surrounded by cool oblivion. White Album. Hayakaru Kyoyuki completely neutralized the illegal mage's magic. Akira asks who this girl is. Even though Kyoyuka is a first year, she already uses magic of this level. The girl said that she lives for the sake of competition. Hayashizaki Kazuki understands that he is not ready for this and tells his friends that he will become Kai's opponent. The guy asks to cover him. Akira sadly understands that the guy will meet her with a blade. Kazuki understands that since he has a blade in his hand, he has only one thing to do. The rival attacks the boy, saying that this is very cruel. Kazuki is determined. With his sword, he will tear apart her magic and make the girl helpless. Hayashizaki Kani fights a powerful dragon. She moves around his body, getting closer to his eye. The student council president of the fencing division plunges his blade into the eye of a mighty beast that is ready to destroy everything around it. Kani pulled out her blade and was already running away from the dragon. She stood up, saying that everything was very boring. Torazu shouts at her to be careful. She dodged the dragon's attack. It wasn't dead yet. As expected of a dragon whose name had become legendary, a tenacious creature, one blow wasn't enough. The forces are running out. Kaguya and Hikari join the fight. The Magic Division Student Council President uses the fruitless flower of hatred. The magic should temporarily restrict the enemy's movements. The girls advise Hikari to repeat the lightning spell, despite being tired after 4 previous uses. The president is irritated by his colleague's weakness. Full concentration is required to effectively use Asmodeus' powerful magic. Kaguya's job is to provide additional time for the ritual to complete, while protecting against the dragon's oncoming attack. Kaguya survived. She was saved by the president of the fencing division, Kani. Kaguya did not expect that the girl would come to her aid. Kani proposed to Kaguya that they team up to kill the dragon. She would stop it, and Kaguya would destroy it with a powerful spell that required full concentration. The president of the fencing division believes that Kaguya cannot trust her and her plan. The girl says that it is not so. She has wanted this for a long time. There are not enough people in the fight with the dragon. Kaguya asks the vice president to call Hayakaru Kyoyuka. Together, the two presidents are invincible. Akira strikes his sword repeatedly. The boy concludes that the girl swings the long sword using her magic. Kaya stopped and said that she only wanted power to get her precious memories back. And yet she wondered why the guy became like this, that she wanted to kill him. Hayashizaki Kazuki screams at her to do something about it. Akira can't resist and asks her to do something about it. Kani realizes that they have arrived just in time. The mages dictate a powerful spell. Akira is very scared. I know your name, your power is an almighty wish. Oh, pitch black contract. I command you to manifest all the power that you have. Her name is Asmodeus. She is like Kaguya. Kaguya is what he is. Let her become her thoughts. Asmodeus will materialize in the world. Kaguya calls upon Asmodeus to pull the enemies into the gates of hell. Her will becomes the demon's command, pulling the dragon and Akira into the dark portal. The demon approves of the girl's wish. The 7th circle of hell is the incredible power of Asmodeus. Hayashizaki Kazuki sees the materialization of a large-scale instant death spell that does not differentiate between enemies and allies. The school's most powerful mage, Kaguya, causes Akira excruciating pain with her spell. Kazuki, realizing the danger, asks for the attack to cease immediately, warning of a mortal threat to everyone. Kaguya refuses to stop the spell, citing the casualties of the fire and the risk of Akira escaping. Akira is desperately afraid of dying alone, immersed in darkness. Kaguya emphasizes the need for determination, being the strongest mage of the school. Hayashizaki Kazuki understands that the president is right, but he does not think it is right. He asks himself if he will regret killing Kaya. Unfortunately, he does not have the strength to resist her. A schoolgirl is shocked by the ineffectiveness of Asmodeus' flame. Lemegeton warns Kazuki about the Dina's control over a person, distorting the mind and subordinating the body to the calling. Instead of Kai, a guy appeared. Probably a diva named Loki who captured the mind of a girl who was thirsty for power. He laughs, he is glad that he has a body in this world. The Order of Knights tried to stop him, but he achieved his grand goal first. The boy who emerged from the girl's body introduced himself. His name is Loki, and he promises to bring Ragnarok. It is his duty. Soon the end of human history will come and the age of gods will begin once again. After learning that Akira's patron is Loki, Kazuki asks Lemegeton about his friend's fate, only to hear confirmation of his worst fears. Absorbed her and destroyed her, Diva thanked for the food. Using Akira's anger, Loki gradually suppressed her will, turning hatred into a thirst for violence. Enjoying the process, the demon triumphs, watching the girl's tears, voluntarily surrendering to his power. In a move that could easily win a Nobel Prize for cruelty, Hayashizaki Kazuki went on the attack. Loki laughs, realizing that the boy is challenging a legend. The boy strikes him blow after blow. Kazuki wonders why thousands of blows are useless against Loki's defense. Diva demonstrates the power of her magical sword Levitine, forcing Kazuki to take the inevitable blow, risking losing all his energy. Mio appeared in front of Kazuki and took the full brunt of the blow. She fell helplessly into the boy's arms. Amasaki sacrificed herself to save Kazuki. The shocked hero listens as Loki mocks the dead girl, asking about her relationship with him. Loki mocks Kazuki's suffering, telling him to remember the day they met forever. The enraged youth tries to attack, but is warned that he cannot overcome the magical defense. Heading towards Loki, Kazuki concentrates his fire on his sword, breaking through the magical defense with 3 strikes. The ultimate technique of his father's swordsmanship, the anti-magic seal, is used. Hayashizaki takes the sword and activates the rift. This human sword, Loki let his defenses fall. He thinks it's stupid and he'll only get his own body at his disposal. The president of the magic division shouts that he will not let him escape and activates the relief. The wounded Loki is surrounded by large machines, rumbling the ground. The girl's attack fails, and Loki is protected by a giant earth snake. Acknowledging Kazuki's skill, Loki names him the new King of Solomon and promises to remember this day. Both creatures vanished into thin air. The world was coming to an end. The young man dropped his blade and realized that he had lost this battle. This world has already been taken over by mythical creatures. Amasaki said that Kazuki did well. He drove Loki away. Holding the girl in his arms, the boy asks why she protected him. Amasaki Mio said that she was truly happy to meet him. By describing happy moments with Kazuki, the girl clearly shows her feelings, making the magic of understanding emotions unnecessary. Amasaki Mio apologizes for always doing and not saying what she really wants, but these are her true feelings. She giggles and says that she is glad that she fell in love with Hayashizaki Kazuki. She wanted to kiss him on the lips. The girl stopped showing any signs of life. That magical blow struck her down and deprived her of that very treasure, life. Without saying much, Mio left this world. He couldn't protect her. He didn't have the strength to protect the girl who loved her. If only she hadn't trusted a coward like him. Amasaki Mio is lying on the ground. Hayashizaki Kazuki started to cry. It was very painful for him to lose his girlfriend. He noticed the feather Mio was wearing, a feather pendant that matched his. A new fashion trend called the silver apple, the same as his. She could use Phoenix magic too. Kazuki recalls Lemegeton's advice about the possibilities of magical summoning, knowing the risks of losing consciousness. Having made up his mind, he carefully lifts the girl up. And he kisses her, creating a strong magical bond. The young man casts a spell. Symbol of destruction and resurrection, overcome the laws of this world, the heavenly bird Phoenix. If this is a completed call, if he manages to change fate, then a miracle will definitely happen. Phoenix warns that weak magic will result in the loss of personality. Bravely accepting the risk, Kazuki casts a spell that alters reality. Revival. The young man sees darkness and thinks he is dead. Countless memories have shattered into pieces and now revolve around this pitch-black world. His date with Mio, Kaguya's kindness, canny training, and everything from Nanohana's house. And his past life. A frosty winter day. his mother who left him at the doorstep of the institute. Kazuki did not believe in the love of others, experiencing his mother's indifference. Asmodeus contemptuously declares that even the exhausted Kaguya lives for the love of him. It can't be that his thoughts are reality. He once believed in her bond with him. Phoenix appears behind Kaguya. He says that they do this for themselves, but it is for the sake of others that they make contracts with people and choose a king. A weakened Kazuki feels a call and a connection with those around him. Realizing the importance of being a king against a god, he opens his eyes. He is in his room in the witch's hut. He wonders how long he slept. The boy suddenly remembered Mio. He shouts for her and searches the rooms. Kazuki hopes that she is okay. She turned around and was glad that the young man had woken up. Hayashizaki Kazuki sees that Mio is alive. A shocked Mio returns Kazuki to bed, strictly forbidding him to get up. The young man obediently lies down, noticing that the girl had prepared for his awakening in advance, offering him rice porridge. Kazuki realized that the voice calling him belonged to Mio. He looks at her and asks why the girl is dressed like a maid. The girl remembers that he likes it and thought that the young man would be happy to see her like this when he wakes up. Amasaki Mio scooped up some porridge with a spoon and walked up to the boy, holding it to his mouth. She tells him to hurry up, she's a maid today. Waking up 5 days later, Kazuki eats the porridge Mio prepared, asking her if there have been any major changes in the past time. Loki has organized illegal mages, declared war on Japan, and is conducting secret attacks. The knights are hiding their countermeasures, and the remaining mages are waiting for a change of patron. The students are busy with assignments due to Loki's actions, and newcomers are not allowed to participate. Kazuki realizes that he cannot fight Loki himself, reliving the memories of Akira's scream and the demon's taunts. Mio reminds Kazuki of his low rank, which prevents him from going on missions. The boy grins at his forgetfulness, agreeing to increase his chances of success by collaborating with the higher-ranking Mio. Now they are no longer mistress and servant, but partners fighting shoulder to shoulder. Defeating villains, they will travel the world in search of adventures and hidden treasures, as well as carry out tasks and those related to Loki. The girl thought that the young man didn't like it because he had a displeased look. The guy said that it was an honor for him. He was speechless. Amasaki Mio put her hands on his and says that she always wanted to be together with Hayashizaki Kazuki. The desire to protect her grows stronger in him. The girl gets closer and closer to the guy. Their noses almost touched each other, and their lips remained a couple of millimeters away. Kaguya and Hikara burst into the room. The president of the magic division shouts that she heard Kazuki's voice. Such a sudden appearance really scared the kids. They looked like tomatoes and were covered in sweat from stress. The president of the magic division jumped on Hayashizaki Kazuki. She cried because she was so worried. The girl was happy that he finally woke up. Hashikaze Hikara also snuggles up to him. She apologizes and says that he probably doesn't like girls like her. Hayakaru Kyoyuki also came into the room and joined the mentors in hugging the boy. They were all crying. Amasaki is shocked by the behavior of her friends, who are under the influence of the desire for intimacy due to Asmodeus magic. They ask to be allowed to temporarily use Kazuki's attention. Kazuki silently enjoys the company of the girls, causing indignant cries from a jealous Mio. Hiding his anxiety, the boy decides to protect his loved ones and play the role of a king. A few days later, the pilot reports on the radio that there are 6 miles left to the airport. He asks to prepare for landing. The plane landed on its landing gear. After flying some distance, the air transport stopped. A girl came out of it and flew to Japan. Amasaki Mio was grabbed by tentacles that were covered in a strange slime. The girl screams, resisting with all her might. A few minutes earlier, the boy and girl used their magic, a wall of fire and Barret. The slime runs away from their attacks. Kazuki's sword is useless, which cannot be said about fire magic. Under Loki's leadership, attacks have begun, and students are taking part in missions to eliminate magical creatures. Mio calls Kazuki on a mission. A joyful Mio cuddles up to Kazuki, noting the successful use of the necessary magic. The guy asks him to concentrate, convinced by the girl to carefully check the result. The boy looks at the remaining crimson slime on the ground. He notices that it has a strong defense against fire magic. While Hayashizaki Kazuki is thinking about what they should do, Amasaki Mio's attention is shifted to something else. The boy hears a piercing scream behind him and finds the girl trapped. She asks him not to look or approach. Kazuki shouts that now is not the time to say such things. Kazuki frees Mio from the tentacles and leaves with her. The effectiveness of simply cutting them off is questionable, but ice magic successfully deals with the slime. The frozen slime Kyoyuki decries the situation, noticing the overlap in the tasks. She suggests abandoning the battle and heading home. In this state, they were unable to continue the mission, and the boy was worried about it. Kazuki thanked them for their help and said that they would return to the academy now. Kazuki warns Kaioyuka about the slime's possible resistance to cold. Mio, feeling the heat and itching of her skin from the slime, cries, reporting discomfort. Enchanted by the slime, Mio confesses her love and seeks to get closer. Kazuki realizes the toxin's effect on the girl's brain, firmly refusing to give in to temptation. In the end, their first mission was a complete failure. After all, a team of 2 people might not be enough. Kazuki thought about inviting someone else to join the team. Amasaki Mio refuses the boy's idea. She doesn't want some strange person to join them. Hayashizaki Kazuki says that because there are so few people on the team, the number of possible tactics is very limited. Amasaki stood up and started to loudly say that she would try harder and become even stronger. She was categorically against having someone else on their team. If Kazuki could use more spells, the problem would be solved, but he is currently unable to do so. Lisa informs Kazuki of Mio's impending demotion to Class B due to her dual losses and a failed mission. The threat of expulsion prompts Lisa to share the news with the boy, bypassing the girl herself. The teacher knows that there are only 2 of them on the team. If the boy thinks that such an assessment is unfair, he should invite one of his friends to join them. It would be best if Kazuki could convince Mio to accept someone like Hayakari Kaioyuka. He would also be able to get along better with her, but Mio's feelings are also important to the boy. Lost in thought, Kazuki runs into Kaioyuka. Upon learning of her presence, he shares news of the failed mission and the implications for the rankings. The boy laughs and says that he is only an E rank. Kaioyuka's face changed from calm to gloomy and stern. She says it's unfair. They shouldn't have given a grade just because the task was failed once. Kazuki asks the girl about her concern for him. Kaioyuka explained that it wasn't because she cared about him. She was saying thanks for that day. Thanks to the boy, the girl successfully completed the task. Hayashizaki Kazuki realized that it was about the phrase about the characteristics of the slugs. Without his advice, Kaioyuka would have used ice magic on the slugs and lost her composure. Perhaps she would have fallen into a trap. They finished talking about the mission, and the boy decided to ask Hayakari to join their team. The girl thinks that he is asking for help because they failed the mission and found themselves in a difficult situation. Kazuki admits that he is weak. Kaioyuka says that the only weak member of the team is Amasaki Mio. At that moment, Mio came out from around the corner of the building. He heard the words that she could be demoted to B rank. The guys did not see the girl appear on the horizon. Mio appears, alarmed by the rumors of a status reduction. A calm Kaioyuka confirms the validity of the decision, listing the defeat in the duel and the unacceptable behavior after the mission. He also adds that in that case, Mio won't be able to stay in the witch's hut. Amasaki doesn't believe these words. She refuses to accept them. Kazuki tries in vain to soften Kaioyuka's stance, accusing Mio of lacking outstanding abilities and losing to less experienced opponents. The tough girl hints at possible consequences for incapable students. A girl challenges Amasaki Mio to a duel. If she loses, she will be demoted to B rank. As Amasaki Mio and Hayakaru Kaioyuka put on their Descarteo projects, they are watched by the Magic Division President and Lisa Westwood. There is an epic battle between the girls, 2 different elements against each other. Kazuki thinks that Kagwa is thinking that it would be better to see who is stronger. The president says that it is not quite like that and suggests that they see the outcome. Both Amasaki Mio and Hayakaru Kaioyuka use different spells. And now it would seem Kaioyuka has delivered a powerful blow, but no. Mio has a fiery armor which her opponent was unable to penetrate. Kaioyuka blocks Mio's magic with a white album, taking advantage of the confusion to strike from behind. Kazuki calls out worriedly to Mio, who is being attacked by Kaioyuka. The observers note the boy's emotional reaction and Kaioyuka's superiority in mana. The clash between Mio's fire wings and Kaioyuka's ice bomb reveals the latter's advantage. As Mio prepares for her next spell, she attracts her opponent's attention. Kagwa says that when she is on the verge of defeat, she can gain a huge amount of magic and abnormal willpower. This is another one of Mio's talents for fighting Kaioyuka. Amasaki used the 5th level of magic twice in a row. An intense fight will not allow the rating of the participants to be lowered. Both opponents have exhausted their strength, disproving suspicions about the agreement. Lisa declared a draw. The lower-ranked person's score goes up. Hayakari Kaioyuka is number 1 in his class. The professor informs Amasaki Mio that the girl will be considered an A rank for a while. Kazuki and Mio, delighted by their victory, converse while Westwood fumes. What the youth noticed out of the corner of his eye turns out to be an unnoticed movement by an observer around the corner. Kazuki comes to discuss something with Kaioyuka, finding her in the library among many books. The girl is dressed modestly, only in a shirt. The young man turned away. The girl did not understand such an action. He explains that he cannot understand where to look while she is dressed like that. Kaioyuka doesn't want to change clothes for him and thinks that her body isn't worth looking at. The guy reminds her that he constantly tells her about her beauty. In this case, he will continue to look at everything he wants. A blushing Kaioyuka asks Kazuki why he came. Kazuki asks him why he chose his strategy for the duel. Kaioyuka denies his initial confidence in victory, explaining his motivation as jealousy over Kazuki and Mio's closeness. Hayashizaki knew that she was a kind and cool girl. Hayakari was taken aback and asked him to listen carefully to what she was saying. The guy invites the girl to the team again. She doesn't want to. Kaioyuka prefers strictly professional relationships. She doesn't want to bring any personal feelings to the battlefield. Hayashizaki Kazuki interrupted her by saying that he wanted to unite with her and become closer. These words made the girl very confused. Kaioyuka turned away and scolded the boy, saying that she refused to join his team. The boy noticed the heart icon. Kaioyuka asks Kazuki to leave. Lemegetten criticizes the boy's lack of effort in forming a harem. Kazuki himself wants to be friends with Kaioyuka, rejecting a romantic relationship. Amasaki Mio called out to the boy. It was quite late and the boy was very surprised. Mio had a small request. They are lying together on the beds. Kazuki thinks that the girl wants to test his willpower. Mio says that she does not want to sleep alone tonight. Liam scolds the king and tells him not to ruin the mood and disposition. It will reduce the number of skills. Hayashizaki offers her to move a little, but the girl flatly refuses, saying that everything is fine. She reminds the young man that in childhood they often napped together. A sleep-deprived Mio wakes Kazuki up, telling him that she is used to living without help, relying solely on her own talents and hiding her weakness. It's bad to say it yourself, but the girl really worked hard as if her life depended on it. Gradually, the enigma grew and moved to the next level. Mio tried not to lose to anyone and finally reached A rank. Frightened by the prospect of being demoted, Mio wanted Kazuki's support. After calming her down, he praises her efforts and the strength she has demonstrated. Mio agrees to add new team members of Kazuki's choosing, threatening hostility only if they are dishonest. Mio feels like she's been putting something else first in the fight all this time, but in exchange. Sometimes Mio takes Kazuki's hand, trying to strengthen the bond. Both understand the importance of choosing the right partner for the team, falling asleep with thoughts of the future. The next morning, Hoshikaze Hikaru and Hayashizaki Kazuki are training near the witch's hut. The vice president advises the boy not to fight force against force. Instead, it is better to continue to deflect the enemy's attacks. This works against opponents who fight like monsters and only use brute force. Kazuki reminds Hikaru that the girl has a light harness, which should not be forgotten in close combat. Harnessing the light sends special electrical signals to the nervous system and muscles, allowing for incredible increases in speed and improved reflexes. At first, by following the boy's movements and using the technique, Hikaru was able to imitate the style. Hoshikaze grasps everything on the fly. Hayashizaki Kazuki thinks she's a terrifyingly good student. Hikaru, in turn, realizes that it was a good idea to ask the boy for training. Every time she crossed swords with a boy, the girl felt like a whole new world was opening up to her. She was always waiting for someone like Kazuki, someone of the same gender as her, someone she could become friends with. Hayashizaki reminds her that they are different genders after all. Hoshikaze understands but says that they have the appearance of a guy. All the girls around her are very strange. She feels that she and Kazuki can have a true friendship. The boys grabbed each other's hands, and Hayashizaki promised that he would not have any feelings for Hikari other than friendship. She's really sorry. Hikara actually trusts the boy, but when she gets close to the man, she gets really nervous. She hopes that one day she will be able to hug her brother like in one of the strong friendships she heard about. Hayashizaki Kazuki says that boys usually do not hug each other. A girl came to the boys and said that if they continued to take part in such children's games, even with their talent, their skills would fade. Observing the girl, Kazuki recognizes the ancient swordsmanship technique and 7 swords on her. The stranger's name is Hikita Kohaku, a first-year student and the future president of the council. This girl's behavior reminds the boy Mio, who also headed herself as the student council president. Hoshikaze Hikara, as befitting the vice president of the student council, extended her hand for a handshake, but Hikita Kohaku walked past the girl as if she were walking through a ghost. The swordswoman completely ignored the vice president and walked towards the boy, saying that she had a request. Hayashizaki Kazuki noticed that the girl had passed by Hikari. Even she would be annoyed by this. He remembered Kagwa saying something about Hoshikaze having a strange, playful side. Hoshikaze Hikaru stands behind the girl and wants to test her skills. She draws her sword and prepares to strike. As soon as Hikita Kohaku opens up, the vice president attacks from behind. The girl failed, Koharu tells the girl not to act like a child trying to measure the tiger's strength. In the end, she could lose her life. The vice president of the Magic Council apologizes for his impudence. Returning to the discussion, Kazuki sees Hikata's concern, suspecting a duel is imminent. Hikita Koharu, gathering her courage, tells the young man that she has come to ask for marriage with him. Kazuki has fallen out of reality. Hikata dreams of creating a unified sword style through marriage with Kazuki, strengthening the legacy of ancient Japanese swordsmanship. He understands her motives, sharing her respect for tradition. Hayashizaki Kazuki says that a girl shouldn't choose a partner just for something like that. Marriage is about wanting to be with someone who is truly important to you. Hikata complains about Kazuki prioritizing his personal feelings over his sword style, describing him as modern and herself as outdated. Putting the topic of the wedding aside, the girl switches to discussing the team. About a first-class team of fencing, she heard that Kazuki always failed while being in a team of mages. In that case, Koharu suggests that the boy join such a team that she recently formed. She is stopped by the vice president of the student council of the magic division, who says that the boy cannot go on missions with only members of the swordsman school as his comrades. Hikita explains the need for a magical title to enhance the authority of swordsmen by highlighting the continuing inequality in the academy. Threatens passive participants with the status of dependent performers. In line with her goals, Hikita Koharu wants Hayashizaki Kazuki to join her team consisting only of swordsmen. Everything is exactly as the girl said. With the results, they will try to raise the authority of the swordsmen. Koharu reminds him of the request in which Kazuki would take her as his wife. He feels sorry, but regardless of the reasons, the boy has no intention of leaving the team he formed, because he is in a team with a very important person for him. Hikita Koharu said that she understands him and will respect his values. But then he simply declares that he needs to become more important than his friend, and if they become a couple, they will get married. The guy sees that the girl does not understand any romance and suggests that she just give up. Hikita Koharu understands that she may be unworthy and does not understand the intricacies of gentlemen's hearts. But the girl definitely wants to win the heart of Hayashizaki Kazuki. He agreed to be her friend, so he asked the girl to drop all formalities and asked her to call him by his first name. Hikita is very embarrassed and has difficulty saying Kazuki's name. There is an awkward silence after which the girl runs away, admitting to being very embarrassed. Hoshikaze Hikara found the swordsman a little strange but cute. The young man understands that among the swordsmen there are still those who hold a grudge against the mages. The same thing happens among the mages. The vice president of the magic division wasn't sure what she would do if the boy accepted the girl's offer, and disbanded the team with Mio. Kazuki values his partnership with Mio and is genuinely surprised by Hikaru's request. The latter suggests that Kagwa will continue the discussion later. After completing their training, the heroes head to the mansion to rest. The morning was eventful. When Hayashizaki Kazuki arrived to class, he was bombarded with questions about whether he had joined the team. His classmates wanted him to join them. The girls wouldn't give him a break. Kazuki explained that they wanted to think about forming a team some more, so he left the girls without an answer. Hayakari Kaioyuka said that it would be possible to accept her classmate's offer instead of asking her. The boy reminds her that they don't want to team up with just anyone, and says that the offer to join the team is still valid. Kazuki's persistence caused a change in Kaioyuka's heart feelings, which was recorded by Solomon's ring. The dissatisfied girl doubts his powers, turning her back. The guy promises to justify the trust. He decided to make a face to make Kaioyuka laugh. Turning to him, she doesn't believe until the very end that he can cheer her up. Using Hayashizaki's legendary move, Death Single Gaze, Kazuki improves Kaioyuka's mood using a special skill that increases attractiveness. Professor Westwood abruptly interrupts the lesson, addressing the students with disdain. Surprised by Kazuki's unusual appearance, she listens to his explanation of the influence of aura. Westwood introduces the new student to the class, banning noise. The students are amazed because the school only accepts those with an enigma, which was obtained at age 14. A girl entered the classroom. Her name is Charlotte Liebenfrau. The new student flew here from abroad. The professor introduced a relative, Charlotte Liebenfrau, who has Japanese citizenship and equal magical abilities, despite moving straight to senior class at the age of 14. Charlotte prefers the name Lot. Kazuki notes her fluency in Japanese and the girl's sense of secrecy, having caught her attentive gaze. Noticing Lot's gaze, Kazuki realizes the absurdity of her facial expression. Admiring the resemblance to the anime hero, the girl focuses on the peculiarities of pronunciation. The first years are called to the council office, where Hikara awaits their arrival. The president appears, introducing the newest member of the team, A-rank Charlotte Frau, which astonishes Kazuki. The professor tells Hayashizaki Kazuki that this may confuse him, but he should know that the girl is not an ordinary student right now. Charlotte Frau is an exile from the Duchy of Seinemund in northern Europe. Even without any rights to inheritance, she is the daughter of the duke who currently rules Seinemund. Lot is a foreign princess. Due to its achievements in magic, the Duchy of Seinemund is considered self-governing to a certain extent. However, it is essentially ruled by Germany, a small country in northern Europe. The 6 leading magical powers, Japan, the United States, Germany, Italy, Russia, and China, protect their interests with divine powers, controlling states without such protection. The 7 magical powers avoid diplomacy, strengthening their own faith in their patron gods, while the 72 pillars of Solomon act differently. Since the end of the Second World War, due to the birth of magic, the flow of international unification began to collapse. If a war were to break out between religious nations now, the thought of the destruction of the world would not be so far from reality. Magic is new in Seinemund. The European aristocracy are the bearers of the gift. For safety, Lot is sent to study at the academy. Lot is now nothing more than an outcast and is ready for any treatment. Kazuki realized that here they could keep an eye on her, just like they could on him. Amasaki Mio understood why the professor lied and said that the girl was her relative. Because of her dialect, it would be impossible to pass her off as Japanese. Lisa Westwood confirmed this, but 3 days had already passed since Lot arrived in Japan, and in those 3 days she had learned it. With the help of mind induction magic, she traced the relationship of consciousness and emotions with language and correlated their language with their native language. The girl is considered a genius in mind induction magic, just like Hashikaze learned the sword style. Hayashizaki Kazuki thought about it. Why did Lot run away from her own country? If possible, he would like to ask and find out. The boy started to say the word teacher, but Kyoyuka interrupted him, saying the same thing. Hayakari asks the professor why Lot ran away from her own country. She asks him to tell them. Lisa Westwood allowed the boys to show her power. Charlotte Frau began to read the spell, and the light of summoning magic appeared. A miniature diva boy appears in front of Kazuki, and Lemageddon appears next to him, making disparaging comments about the baby's size. The young man is outraged by the pointlessness of the comparison. That's not what she meant. This guy has lost more strength and memory than she has. The boy confirms this, saying that he has lost most of his powers and memories. He doesn't even remember his name. Charlotte Frau says she called him the prophet. Only one thing is certain. He is not a diva from Scandinavian mythology. Germany is associated with Scandinavian myths, which explains Lot's flight. A contract with a foreign country threatens the girl with mortal danger. Amasaki Mio asks the girl about the reason for agreeing to this contract. Lot said that she is half human, half goddess. Charlotte Frau was born with an illness. At the age of 14, when she was already one step away from death, the prophet appeared in her heart. In order to regain his powers, he took over the diseased parts of her body and saved her by replacing them. The boy says that he is forced to exist in the body of a human, like a parasite. However, the prophet did not want to disturb the host's consciousness. For this, he had to choose someone who could accept and hold his essence. Lot was forced to abandon everything and flee. The prophet did not have time to finish speaking because Charlotte interrupted him, saying that many good things had happened. This happened thanks to the prophet. He gave her a healthy body, and she was able to go outside, escape to the country she had long dreamed of visiting. Hayashizaki Kazuki was wary. He wondered if the girl was really okay. He had heard of divas with evil intentions who would say anything to deceive their master. Like that time with Kaya. Lisa reassured the frowning boy, saying that everything was fine. During the exam, there was no sign of Lot's personality being destroyed. Both their minds are clearly distinguishable and not at all mixed. But the professor, of course, cannot say this with complete certainty. Charlotte Frau says again that the escape was successful thanks to the prophet. She was able to understand the principle of the airplane's flight. The boy was surprised that the diva taught her this. He wonders who he is. What kind of diva understands science? The girl says that this is not the question to ask someone who has lost his memory. She asked the prophet the reason why he lost his strength. The boy said that he might not have any other memories, but he remembered his duty perfectly. His duty is to prevent the third disaster of Magika. Mio fantasizes about the drink, while Lisa narrates the creation of the universe through 2 wars. The prophet confirms the prophecy of the third battle of the Chosen Ones, seeing only the most important events vaguely. His duty was to confront someone and his diva. Considering this, the boy most likely fought the diva and lost. The consequence was memory loss. Kazuki remembered that Loki also predicted the War of the Divas. The third Magika, The prophet does not know who or what will start this war with the humans. However, pointing to Hayashizaki Kazuki, the boy says that he will be able to defeat them and gain victory. The peculiarity of Lot's alliance with the diva forces Lisa to hand the girl over to the witch's hut for supervision. Kaguya readily agrees, enchanted by the girl. The professor approaches Hayashizaki Kazuki and Amasaki Mio, saying that this girl will join their team. Although it has been a short time since she made the contract, due to her reliance on her diva, Charlotte Liebenfrau's magic is very fast. This should compensate for the weakness of Kazuki's team. Hayashizaki expected this after what Hoshikaze Hikari said in the morning. Now everything is happening exactly as the teacher planned. The boy says that he will gladly accept the girl into their team. Lot asked to wait for her anime brother. She approached him and kissed him on the cheek. Amasaki Mio screams in rage at what the girl did to Kazuki. Charlotte thanked her sister Mio as well. Amasaki looked like a tomato. Lot thought that the girl would prefer a kiss on the lips and suggested doing it again. Hayashizaki Kazuki warned her, saying that she should only kiss someone who is really important to her, especially on the lips. This is for the one you want to protect with your life. It's like you're making a vow and putting your soul into it. Charlotte Liebenfrau understood and said that there was such a deep meaning behind this action. The young man looked at Mio and realized that she did not remember anything. The prophet bowed and swore his allegiance to Hayashizaki Kazuki. The Ring of Solomon itself activated the magic and added the boy to the schedule. Lemegeton tells Kazuki about hidden powers that can defeat all of Solomon's pillars. While the boy ponders the words, Kaguya organizes a celebration for Lot. The Magic Division Student Council president yells at Kazuki to make all of Lot's favorite foods. He creates sushi, tempura, and maguro. While making sushi, Kazuki becomes curious about Mio's maid costume, learning that she created it herself as part of her sewing hobby. The charmed boy receives an unexpected kiss on the cheek from the girl. Having explained the kiss as a celebratory greeting, Mio leaves. Touching the place of the kiss, Kazuki thoughtfully watches his friend, surprised by her action. Lot, watching an old anime, began to admire the beauty of Japan. She thanked for the food prepared. Lot has trouble using chopsticks, trying to master the skill mentally. Kazuki feeds her salmon straight from a chopstick. Otanashi Kagwa, Hoshikaze Hikari, and Amasaki Mio were stunned by this action. In a flash, the three girls rushed to feed Charlotte Liebenfrau because it looks so cute. Kagwa is so happy, it's like a dream. Hayashizaki Kazuki, standing to the side, noticed out of the corner of his eye that Hayakara Kyoyuka was silently eating at a table in the distance. Despite Kyoyuka's cool attitude towards the newcomer, Kazuki treats her to sushi, trying to establish contact between the girls. The girl is confused by this. She wonders why the boy always ignores what she tries to tell him. After the welcome party, the girls decided to take a bath. While they were there, Hayashizaki Kazuki decided to start cleaning. Lot appeared behind him, asking him to explain how to use the bath properly. Turning around, he saw the girl standing there naked. There was a device in the bathroom that she didn't understand, and for some reason the prophet didn't respond to her call when she was naked. Hayashizaki Kazuki turned away from her. The girl does not understand why he does this, because it is impolite to turn away during a conversation. He, blushing to the point of being a tomato, asks Lot to finally wrap herself in a towel. There is a special electric water heater in the bathroom. Kazuki explained how to use it. Charlotte Liebenfrau is delighted with it. It is the first time she has seen such a device and is glad that there is no need to use magic. The young man is surprised that in Sanemund you have to use magic for this. The average citizen would use it, but at the imperial court, everyday life consists of magic. Germany practices Scandinavian mythology, which seeks to overcome the desire for the flesh. Among the mythologies of all advanced countries, it is one of the strictest. The use of machines is not part of the beliefs in Germany. Lot thinks that machines are really amazing, but the Scandinavian myth system rejects the use of machines. There is nothing to be done but to regret it, as Charlotte Liebenfrau says. It is natural to remove people who have lost their strength from society. If one happens to discover great strength, isn't it better to want to protect someone weaker? Shouldn't this feeling be considered natural? The very essence of magic determines what a person really is. This is the basis of human rights. A thoughtful Kazuki loses his pants thanks to Lotta's efforts, who suggests they take a bath together. Kazuki explains to Lot that nudity is only acceptable in close relationships, using the rom-com analogy. The girl blushes at the thought. The girl thinks that she is now fallen because the way she looks now is not something that should be shown to a guy. Kazuki assures her that he did not look and saw absolutely nothing. In the end, such things do not bother him at all. Embarrassed by the simplicity of behavior in love comedies, Lot asks to forget the incident. Lemegeton advises to get down to business, leaving the bathroom. Hayashizaki Kazuki finished taking a bath and was returning to his room. He noticed that the door was slightly open. When he entered, he saw Kaguya sitting on the bed in her battle attire. Kaguya allays Kazuki's concerns about the symptoms by drawing his attention to another question. Taking his cheek, she mentions the numerous kisses he has received, leaving him stumped. Leaning towards Kazuki, Kaguya sadly laments the boy's constant communication with Mio, leaving her alone, suffering from loneliness and jealousy. The girl began to talk to herself out of sadness. Kaguya whispered to him that she had heard what the knights were talking about while they were on the mission. They were saying that the Scandinavian knights had already sent a request to Japan to extradite Lot. Of course, if Japan were to hand Charlotte Liebenfrau over to Germany, nothing but a death sentence awaits her. Japan, of course, has no intention of doing so. In any case, Japan is not the only religious country. If these countries were friendly, there would be no doubt that this would turn other countries against them. Germany doesn't care about Lot's fate. She will cooperate with them in capturing Loki. Elite Scandinavian knights arrive in Japan for a month-long joint operation. As an object of hatred in mythology, Loki will soon be captured. There is still a chance to save Kaya, so Kazuki wants to destroy Loki with his own hands. However, he cannot participate in the hunt for him now due to his uselessness. Kaguya is a little jealous of the boy's concern for Mio. Hayashizaki Kazuki should focus on becoming stronger. Otherwise, he won't be able to protect anyone. That's what Otonashi Kaguya tells the boy. The young man realizes that the girl is right and he should stop fooling around. The president says that he, for example, should be more persistent in trying to go all the way with Kaguya. Hayashizaki Kazuki suddenly realized that the Magic Division Student Council president had heard about the power of Lemegeton from Professor Lisa. He grabbed her shoulders and pushed her away from him. To go all the way with Kaguya. Even if he said to finish with a girl like her, the boy doesn't know what to do. The president says that when he stares at her like that, it's 100 times more embarrassing than when she hugs him. Kazuki lets go of his hands, and an embarrassed Kaguya runs away, asking to forget the conversation. Before leaving, she reminds him of the important information, blushing and saying goodbye. The young man realizes the urgency of action before Loki is detained. Kani points her finger at Hayashizaki Kazuki, shouting that he has been acting promiscuous and lecherous lately. The young man never thought that the day would come when he, the fool, would criticize her. The sister is outraged that the boy is going to study with a beautiful girl. She thinks that he intends to rise to the level of adulthood. Kazuki says that in exchange for teaching him kenjutsu, Hoshikaze will teach him magic. Hikari asks Kani not to be so touchy. The vice president says that compared to her, Kani is so cute that she can't be described in words. She lifts the fencing division president's head with her hand to look at her cute face. Kani's older sister rushes to warn her brother about Hikari's suspicious aura. Kazuki calls his sister beautiful and charming, causing her embarrassment. The vice president of the magic division asks the boy not to joke like that. He won't be taken seriously when it's really needed. Charlotte Liebenfrau came running to them looking for Hayashizaki Kazuki to talk to him. She started talking about last night. Lot cheerfully and sincerely says that she doesn't mind now. Last night she walked around Kazuki without clothes. Hoshikaze, Hikari, and Hayashizaki Kani heard this. He doesn't understand why Lot came running and said this now. The older sister is furious about this. She grabbed the hilt of the sword. This is the worst scenario in his life. While stopping his sister's attack, Hikaru points out the growing number of inhabitants of the witch's hut. Kani is vehemently opposed to the foreign guest, demanding that Lot be personally checked. Hikita Kohaku runs up to Kani, shouting that she will take on the testing of the creatures that want to follow Kazuki herself. The president of the swordswomen is interested in the reason for Hikita's appearance. An outstanding first year joins the student council, but causes trouble. Caught in the bushes, the girl makes excuses about important business with Kazuki. Hikita brought lunch, proposing to Kazuki to marry, proving her suitability as a bride. An angry Kani resolutely claims the right to become the young man's wife. The girls sort things out. They also touch on the topic of Otonashi Kaguya. The boy asks to talk about the president of the magic division in the student council office. Kani calms down and says that what's more important now is that Charlotte Liebenfrau is trying to get closer to Kazuki. Lot realized that she was being challenged to a duel. In other words, if she won, she could stay with the others in the witch's hut. If that was the case, the girl agreed to do so. The upcoming fight is declared unofficial. The participants are required to avoid damage. Lot begins using summoning magic, transforming into an opponent's waiting form. Charlotte Liebenfrau's battle attire turns out to be a bikini. The student council vice president announces the start of the duel. Lot uses a heavy magical weapon, the Mitrailleuse, in her fight against Hikita Kohaku. Kazuki is stunned by the girl's level of magic. Hikita easily deflects the bullets, showing off his excellent reflexes. Canny explains the effectiveness of the intuitive technique against magic, given the weakness of the bullets. Lot doesn't have the stopping power needed to fight the swordsman. Kohaku wanted to strike, but thought she miscalculated something. But no, she imagined it. It's a Zeusenhofer. Charlotte Liebenfrau has armor polished with protective magic. Hikita Kohaku shouts to the girl that she has proven herself to be quite resilient. However, if she hits a crack in the armor, she can win. Charlotte Liebenfrau activated the collider field. She wore a huge suit of armor like a robot. She shouted at her opponent that she should not be underestimated. In that case, the swordswoman decided to strike with her sword. She almost did, but she felt the gaze of the fencing division student council president. Hashikaze Hikara shouted that the match was over. Continuing will be a hindrance to others. What can we say about the fight Charlotte Liebenfrau won? The girl is jumping happily. Now nothing will stop her from being with Kazuki. After losing, Hikita becomes upset, realizing her skills are lacking. He asks for a chance to eat his own bento. The duel revealed the girl's inner fragility while simultaneously showing Lot's potential. Of course, the professor mentioned Charlotte's quick summoning, but there is a problem with the pattern of her magical attacks. The boy later wants to ask Lisa about it. Kazuki consults with the professor about Lot's additions to the team. While talking about the duel, the young man describes the potential of a group with Lot and looks for ways to combine heat attacks. The professor addressed the boy as if he were trash, saying that they should try an electrical attack. If they looked at the wound, they would easily know the difference. There are two aspects to electrical burn. First, electrical burn occurs internally. So even if the enemy is covered in heat-resistant skin or armor, the damage occurs internally. It will still be effective. Second, an electrical attack can destroy the nervous system. Many animals use electrical signals. A strong charge will have an effect on this activity. People also use a shock to start the heart or vice versa. Traveler Hikara has mastered the use of electricity to strengthen her body. According to the teacher's recommendations, electrical attacks are optimal against the slugs in the mission Kazuki accepted. They use the same method of controlling their body. Their body consists of a core that sends electrical signals to organs made of mucus. So if you pass a strong current through them, they will die and only mucus will remain. Teacher Lisa praised Kazuki's intellectual qualities for asking questions. She advises the group to experience the benefits of Lotta's participation in the Saturday Challenge. In order to keep Amasaki Mio's rank from dropping, the boy wonders if things will really improve because Lot joined the team. Kazuki tells the girl that her presence is encouraging. Things were going well last time until the red slime appeared. Lot says she'll keep an electric attack spell on standby. Amasaki Mio points to the guys on the other street. The Japanese Knightly Order wears white uniforms and one person in black. These are German agents. They are most likely hiding the search for Loki. The arrival of German elite fighters in Japan for a month to defeat Loki is actively covered by the press. But the details of the negotiations remain classified. It was considered bad luck that they saw them now. Charlotte was very afraid and she clung to Kazuki. First of all, the young man should calm her down. On the other hand, Mio joined in. The girl is a little jealous. Because of this, Hayashizaki Kazuki had a hard time walking. And so they began again. Mio was grabbed by the tentacles for the second time. The boy tries his best to help his partner. Amasaki is freed from the creatures and Kazuki yells at Charlotte to use an electric attack on the red slime. Lot uses a collider field to fire electrical charges at the slime. Mio uses wings of wings to burn them. After completing their work, the heroines fell into a slimy substance that affected their minds and provoked an obsession with Kazuki. The young man decided to cleanse them in a nearby lake. They were fooling around, splashing around in the water. The area around the lake is returning to its previous state. The entire region is basically cleared. After that, we'll have to go deeper. Hayashizaki, standing on dry land, was called into the water by the girls. They washed off all the slime. But the boy noticed that the girl's clothes had become completely transparent. Confused, Kazuki looks away, fearing the consequences of getting his uniform wet. Going to check out the surroundings after spotting a fox, the young man explores the area, driven by curiosity about the unknown ahead. Looking up, he discovered a shrine in the dungeon. Amasaki Mio, Charlotte Liebenfrau, and Hayashizaki Kazuki found a divine blade in a dungeon, a sacred weapon that possesses powerful magic and is capable of causing strange phenomena by drawing on the power of its owner. Since this divine blade originally belonged to the temple, it most likely turned into a sacred weapon when magical powers filled it. When touched, the blade begins to absorb magical powers. Mio suggests that this blade might be somehow connected to one of the Japanese legends, and as a test, suggests seeing what it is capable of. Hayashizaki Kazuki wanted to start the inspection, but someone stopped him at the door. saying that the acquisition of personal sacred weapons was strictly prohibited. The girl and her partner demanded that the guy hand over the blade to her personally. The guy was surprised by the level of the order's envoys and explained that he intended to hand over the sword along with the report. The girl brazenly snatched the blade from Kazuki's hands and barked something about a swordsman who was a child and possessed a sacred weapon. Turning around, the brazen girl told her partner, named Kandu, that they were leaving. The three boys followed the pair in silence. Amasaki Mio indignantly shouts that they shouldn't be so impudent. Lot shouts that such charlatans will never become as strong as Kazuki. The young man, in turn, suggested leaving everything as it is and moving on. However, Kazuki says quietly, it was precisely because the sacred weapon was a sword that he wanted and had to do this. Charlotte Lieben Frau, Amasaki Mio, and Hayashizaki Kazuki fight fair and square against various monsters to clear the area of evil. The boys are done, all the enemies are defeated, and the natural scenery is almost restored. This dungeon is completely cleared. Amasaki is happy about this because they were able to complete their task. That's it. Kazuki seems to have used up all his magic power, although he still has some left. The mentor said that they have a pretty good team. If the guys continue like this, then maybe they'll be given other tasks. Charlotte sat down to rest, causing concern among her colleagues. Mio and Hayashizaki were worried, but Lieben Frau explained that everything was fine. The girl simply got tired quickly because she had spent her entire life in bed. Kazuki offered to carry Lot, which she happily agreed to. Mio is outraged that he would do this. Hayashizaki Kazuki wanted to say that it would be awkward to carry two people at the same time, but something distracted him. It even scared him a lot. Mio noticed the strangeness on the boy's face, who suddenly shouted about feeling a huge flow of magic. Amasaki also felt this flow, and Kazuki was confused about where so much magic came from, thinking that the area had already been cleared. It was a blonde female knight. She noticed that the team had cleared the dungeon, meaning they had enough strength to celebrate. The mysterious stranger began to chant a spell. She possesses cleansing magic. The magician rushed towards the kids, and Hayashizaki Kazuki shouted for the girl to fight the enemy. The boy asks why she, a German knight, is attacking them. She screams that he is pathetic, although Kazuki screamed that no one wants to fight her. Hayashizaki received a blow from the female knight, noticing that her strength had increased dramatically. His hands went numb from the attack. The knight asked why the boy was silent, and Kazuki responded by casting a spell. Kazuki's wall of fire did not harm the girl. She mocked the weakness of the attack and challenged the hero to show his maximum strength. Realizing defeat, Kazuki thought only about running away. Behind him, a girl's voice was heard, asking the knight what he was doing here. Turning around, Hayashizaki Kazuki saw that it was the knights who had brazenly taken the sacred weapon earlier. This pair recognized the German knight. The enemy noted that she sees people who know her. This is the low-key suppression team. The girl reported an attack on the object and sent Kandu forward. Kazuki warned the boy not to approach, but Kandu tried to attack and was instantly deprived of his weapon, thrown away by the German girl. The German girl is disappointed in the guy, deciding to kill him. To save his friend, Kazuki distracts the enemy by attacking her, but is protected by a shield. Kandu thanks him, but the hero tells him to run while he has a chance. Kazuki calls Mio to go up to level 5. The knight is surprised that he is fighting a schoolboy, recognizing his abilities. Kazuki counters that no one evaluates anyone and reminds him that they were talking about escaping, which the knight finds amusing. If they were talking about running away, she would not hold back any longer. The rival made them prepare and began to read the spell. The girl shouted for everyone to enjoy fighting her until the very end. She calls Fjernug, Thor's mother, to bury everyone. Kazuki was hit by a powerful energy blast, receiving serious injuries. His friends are concerned about their comrade's condition. He himself realizes that he cannot be saved and worries about his friend's safety. The explosion resulted in the appearance of a terrible giant. The frightened girl asked Kazuki for advice. The hero is amazed by the sight, recalling a similar event and seeing a mysterious figure on a tree. It was Kaya who was sitting there, smiling sweetly at him. The girl was saying that she had come to save Hayashizaki Kazuki. The giant of Muspelheim towers over the little people, showing all his power in just one silhouette. In comparison, a man looks like an ant. Hayashizaki Kazuki doesn't know who summoned him, but if he creates a moment to escape, it will be a winning chance. He yells at Amasaki Mio to start casting the spell. The boy's partner began to read a spell, mentioning the phoenix. The young man rushed away from the German knight, who was furious that the boys still wanted to escape. Mio and Kazuki grow phoenix wings. Taking Charlotte in their arms, they fly away, repeating that they need to escape immediately. The German girl tries to stop them by screaming. The German woman deflects a blow from the Muspelheim giant's fist with her sword, finding herself in a critical situation. Cursing her opponents, she casts a spell. A huge Viking appeared behind her, holding a war hammer in his hand. She has no intention of giving up and running away in the same way. The giant Muspelheim, uttering shrill cries, was about to strike but missed. The girl easily dodges the slow blows. In her hand was a hammer, which is supplied with a huge amount of energy. The German knight towered over the giant and shouted for him to taste it. Her gaze was fierce and her blow was devastating. She used Mjolnir. The power was so powerful that the giant Muspelheim did not have time to understand anything and crumbled into pieces. Holding Charlotte Liebenfrau in his arms, Hayashizaki Kazuki tells his friend that they are separated here. If the girl can use such magic, the outcome would be fatal. Hayashizaki Kazuki tells his partners that he will give a report himself, and tells them to go and rest after what happened. Returning to the witch's hut, Kazuki saw Professor Lisa and gave her the report. She revealed that the girl who attacked was Beatrix Baumgar from Thor's group, who had left the dorm earlier specifically to kill Charlotte. Officially, there was no attack. Kazuki claims that the knight attacked them without reason, meaning that the country and the order did not care about protecting Charlotte in the first place. The teacher agreed with him. Japan refused to help Germany, respecting the rights of refugees. The lack of an alliance makes Charlotte's fate less important. As Professor Lisa said, her death will be considered an accident, which angered Kazuki. The young man shouts at the professor to stop beating around the bush. He is completely enraged by the words that nothing can be done. He assumes that his meeting with Charlotte Liebenfrau is also part of the perfect plan to kill her. The professor, keeping calm, says that from the Japanese government's point of view, maintaining good relations with foreign countries is extremely important. There is no other method to maintain balance between countries. It reminds us that Lot was supposed to die from an illness, and now an entire nation is trying to take her life. Lisa Westwood reports that Japan today does not have the space required to take care of everyone who comes to the country. Hayashizaki Kazuki is furious that the government can't do anything about this. He thinks it's unfair. Turning to the boy, Professor Liz says that the boy cannot accept this and asks him, calling him trash, what he is going to do next in this case. If it's an accident, then there won't be any problem if someone accidentally saves her. Hayashizaki Kazuki will protect Charlotte Liebenfrau. Lisa Westwood smiled back. She apologized to him, saying that she had hoped he would have said something like that at the very beginning. The boy was very surprised by this and did not understand why the professor was saying this now. She was given orders to silence him after Charlotte died. However, as she realized, it was almost impossible to shut the guy up. In addition, 2 people in his team can use 5th-level Phoenix magic. If they focus on escaping, the probability of survival is quite high. Hayashizaki Kazuki now realized that Professor Liz just wanted to see his reaction. He thought it was a stupid game. Professor Lisa once again emphasizes Kazuki's great strength, entrusting him with the protection of Charlotte. She is convinced that it is this strength that will allow him to become a true King Solomon and protect those dear to him. Lisa sends Charlotte on a new mission, expecting another attack from Beatrix soon. Officially confirming the attack is important if she can be stopped. Kazuki realizes that they must be able to withstand this attack. He talks about Kagwa. Lisa Westwood reports that it is impossible. If the student council president had been on stage, she would have put the Japanese government at a disadvantage. However, the guys have no chance against her. The professor reminds that the young King Solomon and Charlotte Liebenfrau's diva were originally quite powerful. If Hayashizaki Kazuki can handle it, he will have enough power to defeat his enemy. The girl says that the preparation time is limited. She tells the boy to raise the compatibility level with Charlotte Liebenfrau as much as possible. Kazuki relayed all this to Lemageddon, who was sitting on the boy's shoulders. She says it goes against common sense, but things take an interesting turn. The boy only asked why Liam was sitting on his shoulders like a child. However, there is still something Hayashizaki Kazuki does not understand: the demon that appeared in the middle of the fight with Beatrix. Thanks to it, they were able to escape, but it is unknown who summoned it. He suspects that it was Kaya. As the boy walked forward talking to Liam, a familiar figure appeared in front of him. Kazuki was stunned when he saw her. It was Kaya, who told him that quite a long time had passed. The girl, since the last time they met, began to look different. Kaza is puzzled by the preservation of Kai's form, which Loki stole. It turns out that Loki is controlling her body, preserving her soul in order to use the girl as a tool in his game with the king. In other words, the girl is Loki and at the same time Kai. The young man grabbed his blade. He sees that Kai's soul still remains. In that case, he can still do what he wanted. If he completely erases Loki's magical power and places the seal, he will be able to save Kaya. He was interrupted from his thoughts by a girl who told him to stop. Kaya warns Kazuki that trying to save her is risky. Loki values her soul and the boy will not defeat the god now. She laughs, claiming that she has become much stronger than before. The guy thinks that Kaya came here to please him with her appearance, but no, she has a proposal. In order to defeat their common enemy, Beatrix Baumgart, Kaya thinks it would be a wise decision to join forces. However, problems could arise if someone sees them together. Therefore, he recommends that she enter his house through the window. She looks around the room and laughs at the fact that everything is scattered on the floor. Kaya thought that this was the first time a girl came to him, but no. The residents of the mansion come here all the time. The girl says that for some reason she wants to beat up all the girls in this mansion. Hayashizaki Kazuki says that Loki is really inside her. After these words, a skull appeared. The boy looked at the board and saw that Kaya had appeared there with a 50% sympathy level. Kazuki doesn't understand why he needs to win Kaya's heart, but it's proof that she sincerely wants to cooperate with the boy. The spirit-wounded Loki wants an alliance with Kazuki, dreaming of fighting with swords despite the risks and weakness. Kaya finds the idea absurd. Hayashizaki Kazuki angrily replies that the only abnormal one here is the girl. He reminds her that he did not agree to work together with her. Kaya, sitting on the bed, calls the boy stubborn. Since she can use Loki's power, the girl will be a good helper in battle. She realized that he does not want to agree because of Loki. The guy says that this is exactly the case, because he does cruel things. Kaya answers the young man that Loki is not as bad as he seems from the outside. Loki was supposed to take revenge on the Norse gods and bring chaos to the world. So she attacks the knightly order and unites illegal magicians to gather comrades, but Loki constantly tries to avoid killing people. As Kaya says, Loki is going too far and could kill someone just like Amasaki Mio. These words anger Kazuki. Of course, the boy had never heard of him killing anyone. The young man did not finish speaking because the girl interrupted him. Hayashizaki is more concerned about the emergence of illegal magicians. There are cases of them devouring the souls of their victims. She was scared at first too. When Kaya was absorbed, the girl felt very good. These words throw the boy off his stride. Kaya explains that initially, the people who were involved in illegal contracts were mostly those whose hearts were consumed by chaos. Chaos, the desires and impulses of living beings who are unable to reject the illusion behind the veil of legends. The gods will begin to use the concept of norm as a source of control over people and will spread chaos from behind the scenes. For Hayashizaki Kazuki and his mentality, it is impossible to comprehend the nature of chaos. The 72 pillars of Solomon are aligned. There is neither order nor chaos. For Kazuki, as a Basilius, a monarch with hereditary power, this will be of great importance in finding allies. The girl did not finish, because the guy continued the sentence for her. In other words, to fully understand Loki, he would need to join forces with him. Kazuki assumed that was what Kaya was trying to tell him. The girl jumped on his neck to hug him, joyfully exclaiming that the boy had hit the nail on the head. She just wanted him to think about who she was now, about Kai. They need to come up with a plan. She only has Loki's wiles, but the girl can give an idea of how they should fight. After all, Loki is her diva, and he knows Thor's abilities. Hayashizaki Kazuki will mainly deal with melee attacks. He should interrupt the enemy's other attacks to drain Beatrix Baumgart's magic power. Although, if Thor manages to cast high-level spells, it would be better to think about how to escape from the battlefield unharmed. However, if they focus on escaping, they will be unable to do anything if they are attacked. Almost all of Thor's summoning spells have the weakness that they can only be summoned during combat. Thor is the one who hears the voices of warriors only in the thick of battle, and therefore his scope of usable tactics is narrow. In other words, if Kazuki can repel the knight's attacks, it will be a battle of endurance. Come to think of it, after trying to attack last time, her magic power didn't seem to have diminished at all. She has a full set of armor which grants protection. Attack methods that deal piercing damage will be most effective. Hayashizaki Kazuki recalled attacks with internal effects, electrical attacks that Charlotte Liebenfrau possesses. In addition, Beatrix Baumgart brought from Germany a shield that could withstand even the fiery iron fist of the giant of Muspelheim. This is the legendary sacred weapon Slavin. It has absolute resistance to fire. It goes without saying that Amasaki Mio's flame is nothing more than a simple toy while Beatrix Baumgart holds the shield. Hayashizaki Kazuki realizes that even with such valuable information, the knight is still a very powerful opponent. Kaya notes that with proper preparation, everything should go smoothly. During these days, the boy is going to put in maximum effort to eliminate the demons. But Hayashizaki Kazuki's main task will be to raise Charlotte Liebenfrau's compatibility level as much as possible. The boy feels trapped, and Kaya reminds Lot of Diva's power. Even the professor doesn't know the whole truth about the prophet, the girl notes, saying goodbye to Charlotte. This irritates him, Instead of being alone with Charlotte, he suggests inviting Amasaki Mio along to strengthen their team. If Lot feels at ease, her compatibility level should increase. Kaya calls Hayashizaki Kazuki idiots. If he wanted to take it as a bet, then being alone with Charlotte Frau would give the boy a better chance. Kaya hinted that despite being related to Mio, Lot was still a girl. Hearing this, Kazuki thought about it. Then Kaya said that she missed the last train and suggested spending the night together, feeling conflicted inside. Hayashizaki Kazuki opened the window, telling her to go straight ahead first, then turn left and then go as far as possible. Kaya was upset by this answer. While filling a glass with water, Kazuki pondered the difficulty of increasing his connection with Charlotte, doubting whether he was doing the right thing. Deciding to discuss it with her, he came to the conclusion that a conversation was necessary. Charlotte Frau appeared in the kitchen drinking milk. She learned from anime that people do this in Japan after getting out of the bath. Also, Lot heard that her breasts will get bigger if she drinks milk. I wonder what came over her. She didn't think about such things. She doesn't have such big curves. She's embarrassed because her body is small and thin. She considers this only the beginning. The guy notes that the girl will steadily mature. Lot agreed but fell silent. Charlotte Frau asked Hayashizaki Kazuki about the girl who attacked them at the end of the quest. She realized that her target was the girl. Charlotte laments that she brings only trouble to those around her. Kazuki consoles her, happy to meet her and promising to protect her. Remembering his childhood as an orphan, he assures her that he has found the meaning of life next to her. However, there are people who have accepted him and the place he can call home. Hayashizaki Kazuki placed his palms on Charlotte Frau's cheeks and asked her to go on a date, just the two of them. The boy wants to show her the beauty of this world, the place where she belongs. Lot didn't expect that. In the morning, Kazuki waits for Charlotte at school. She comes later, apologizing. The guy is struck by her appearance, so refined and graceful like a real princess. The young man admires her appearance and compliments her. The girl said that these are the clothes she bought in Seimund. Embarrassed, Charlotte Frau asks if they will actually spend the day like in a romantic comedy, a date between a man and a woman. Hayashizaki Kazuki suddenly placed his hand on Lot's thigh, something she hadn't even suspected. The guy had a feeling that it was too much, but he offered to go. Lot happily agreed, smiling. Charlotte Frau wanted to go to Akihabara. Walking down the street, Lot is amazed by the beauty of Japan. She has never seen such streets in the anime. A young man looks at posters of adult games that are stuck outside shops. He thinks it's not quite normal. The Prophet and Lemegeton appeared near the store, offering the boy a toy to improve his relationship with Basilius. Charlotte indignantly reminded him that they were on a date, making the girls laugh, and they quickly apologized. The guy suggested watching some anime. Charlotte Frau said that she likes anime about romantic relationships between a man and a woman. Lot draws attention to a number of shops: Spirit Calls, Cosplay Cafe, Wonderland, evoking pleasant feelings. Inside, they are greeted by three workers who imitate images of Solomon's pillars. The cafe specializes in Solomon-themed costumes, offering costumes for rent to patrons. Newcomers Kazuki and Lot were offered the chance to try on the outfits, noting their popularity among the guests. In front of Kazuki were charming puppies, causing the boy to be delighted. Charlotte called him, appearing before him in an unusual adult form with dog ears. Hayashizaki Kazuki asked which of the 72 pillars this represents. Lot replied that it represents Glaciala Bolas, the warrior of hell. The boy shouts that this is an extremely high level of influence, even compared to the others. Charlotte Frau lines on Hayashizaki Kazuki, asking him to give her the love he gave the puppies. She licks his cheek. And because of this, he began to get extremely indignant and swear. The boy realized that this place awakened strange instincts. Charlotte Frau suggests bringing Amasaki Mio here next time. She asks to imagine the young man, how Mio will look with a shy look, with a flushed face, and how she would lick Kazuki. The boy thought it was a diabolical plan, to which Lot only laughed. Among the crowd, the boys noticed a German knight continuing to follow them. Charlotte is accompanied by fear and a feeling of loneliness everywhere. Supporting his friend, Kazuki gently puts his hand on her shoulder. He reassures her that everything is okay because he will be there for her. Charlotte Frau has another place she would like to visit with the boy: a photo booth. In Seimund, powerful mages are perceived as a threat. Charlotte's life is like a candle in the wind. Many are ready to extinguish it, use it, and despise it. The girl's circle is guided by secret motives and deception. However, ever since Lot came to this country, Kazuki has been addressing her as an individual and saying that he will protect her. This makes her so happy that her heart beats faster. She screams that she loves Hayashizaki Kazuki and leans against him while taking pictures in a photo booth. If there is a future, she wants to develop a special romantic relationship with him. Lot thinks that she is too spoiled. Charlotte gives Kazuki a photo album of their day. While happily looking at the pictures, the guy notices that the girl has secretly kissed him on the cheek, making the shots especially touching. The bespectacled man who called Kazuki turned out to be Lisa Westwood's employee, Kenjutsu practitioner Tsuhara Hisataba. He greeted the boy warmly, but noted that he did not understand his fighting style. Kazuki acknowledged Hisataba's skill with a sword and suggested that learning from him would help Kanni's student succeed. The man good-naturedly appreciated the praise. He said that there were actually people who wanted to talk to Kazuki. The man opened the door and asked the boy to come in. At the table sat both Kondo and that girl. These are the knights they met in the dungeon forest. The guy sitting at the table thanks the boy for the help he gave in the battle. Kazuki meets newcomers, patrol knights Kondo and Yukari. The latter acknowledges Kazuki's help but annoyedly cuts off her partner's comments. In fact, the boys were sent underground on purpose that day. Nothing specific was said. At that point, they encountered Kazuki and Beatrix's group. After that, they were ordered to remain silent. Afterwards, everything was explained. However, when the boys learned the details, they came to the conclusion that Hayashizaki Kazuki was not strong enough to stand against Beatrix. Kondo hajime hands over a sealed box, saying that they would like to return what they confiscated from Kazuki's group. The Raikiri weapon was taken secretly as the warehouse did not account for it. Kazuki asked if it was legal. Hisataba explained that it was better to use it than to store it uselessly, asking the boy to keep quiet. Soma Yukari told her partner not to get carried away and to be careful with his words. A swordsman is one who nobly sacrifices everything for the sake of justice. Hayashizaki Kazuki hopes that with this sword, he can free Charlotte Liebenfrau from the shadow that haunts her life. The boy brought Amasaki Mio and Lot to a large building. He informs that this time the quest will take place in this place. The landscape had been mostly restored. In other words, Kaya must have already infiltrated the area and killed all the mobs. Kaya tells Hayashizaki Kazuki that he is late. Since this quest is small, she killed almost everyone without even trying. Amasaki Mio saw her old friend. She ran to greet her. Mio asks if Kaya is okay. The girl says that they regret what they did. After all, she and Loki tried to kill them. Amasaki Mio was very frightened by this. Her face changed from happy to extremely tense. Her old friend's words fell like a stone on her shoulders. Charlotte Liebenfrau wanted to say something about Kai, but Hayashizaki Kazuki said not to worry about anything. They temporarily joined forces. The boy says that they are well prepared, but Beatrix has become very suspicious. Thor is the god of Scandinavian legends. In any case, the boys will not be able to hide from her for long. They were interrupted by the appearance of Beatrix Baumgart. She says that the children understand her well enough. The knight had already missed Hayashizaki Kazuki. The German knight made her moves. Kazuki is ready to begin the duel at Kaya's request. Summoning Blutgang, Kaya promises to sacrifice to the gods. Charlotte blames herself for the new difficulties, but her friends support her, demonstrating their willingness to protect. Kazuki grips the handle of the weapon. The boy attacked the enemy first. Beatrix Baumgart laughs, calling the young man a good boy. Kazuki attacked with electricity, pushing Kaya away. Activating the magic of the ballet, he caused the indignation of Beatrix, who defended herself with the famous shield. The girl is right, but still, any shield can only block one side. Beatrix noticed Amasaki Mio and Charlotte Liebenfrau approaching. They simultaneously activate Brand Month and Lightning. As she dodges a double strike, a cautious Beatrix overhears Kaya's question about the dragon. She looks back to find a huge beast head with Kaya sitting on top, ready to swallow her whole. Who wants her rival to become the dragon's prey? Beatrix Baumgart, smiling, activated Meginjord. It was an instant death of the summoned dragon. With her defenses down, Kaya deflected the enemy's attack with her sword. Realizing that she had summoned this monster before, Beatrix received Kaya's evasive smile. The girl then distanced herself by activating Fire Orem's ability. Beatrix, who prefers ranged combat, has noticed traces of Freya's presence. She attacks, knocking Kaya back. Standing triumphantly over her fallen rival, she declares that the suppression squad missed her and that she has found Loki. He smiles, saying that he was burned, and adds that Freya didn't actually use it herself. Beatrix Baumgart smiles, believing that she can easily destroy Loki now with the help of Men. Beatrix's attack is stopped by Kazuki, who protects Kaya. The irritated girl threatens that the Japanese sword is capable of destroying any lightning, including multiple strikes. Kaya noticed Kazuki's nobility in protecting his allies. Commenting on the situation, Beatrix praises their strategy, intending to finish them all off at once. The participants tensely await the attack. The girl turns to Hayashizaki Kazuki, saying that she will now be serious, but will the young man be able to withstand it? Rematch, fate is at stake. Beatrix Baumgart holds two huge blades in her hands along with a sword. She exudes ferocity. Kaya tells the boy that the girl has finally become serious. They must reflect all her attacks to prevent her from using high-level spells. Hayashizaki Kazuki understands this. As planned, the boy will have to parry all of Beatrix Baumgart's attacks. Others, with their attacks, will interrupt the summoning of her spells. The girl attacked the boy with inevitable speed. The floor collapsed where she struck. Hayashizaki Kazuki managed to dodge. He noticed that the girl had sped up. Beatrix Baumgart's face is no longer cheerful. She tells the young man that she has sped up considerably, but will he be able to defend himself as before? Attack after attack follows. Hayashizaki Kazuki tries to parry, but it has become much more difficult than before. While watching the battle, Kazuki discovers that Beatrix is casting spells in response to attacks. As the girl prepares to summon the creature, Kaya advises Mio to immediately disrupt the ritual by acting decisively. The battlefield is rocked by an explosion, but victory is illusory. Kaya demands that Mio immediately summon her again. Meanwhile, the enemy moves forward rapidly towards Kazuki, who is ready to meet her with his blade. Beatrix Baumgart ran past the boy with ease. She shouts that Hayashizaki Kazuki is too slow. She decided to weed out the ranks of their team and starts with Charlotte Liebenfrau. The girl was in her armor and ready to defend herself. The opponent easily broke through the collider field. The girl rushes at Charlotte to get rid of her. With just one blow, Beatrix Baumgart knocks off all the armor the girl is wearing, sending Lot flying to the side. Hayashizaki Kazuki rushed to rescue his comrade. No matter how fast she is, the boy must deal with her using prediction. This overwhelming power does not allow them to do what they have planned. They fight with swords when suddenly Amasaki Mio calls out to the boy. Kaya summons fire by activating her wings, but Kazuki warns that the trick won't work due to Beatrix's shield serving as her main defense. The enemy rushes towards Mio. To protect her, all the girl's attacks as a fire mage are completely useless. Hayashizaki Kazuki ran towards his friend because Beatrix was already heading towards her. Beatrix Baumgart deals multiple blows. Shouting to her that her end has come, the enemy deals her the decisive blow. But her blade was stopped by Hayashizaki Kazuki. He put his sword in front of the blade, stopping the crushing blow. Beatrix Baumgart says that this is to be expected from a boy. The lives of his comrades are more important to him than anything else. However, this won't work in a fight with her. Kaya screams that Hayashizaki Kazuki is an idiot because he has to stop her summoning, even at the cost of his comrades. The German knight towering over the boy tells him that this is a bad choice. The girl has made a summons to Thor's hammer. Hayashizaki Kazuki turns out to be much more naive than she thought. Beatrix Baumgart's eyes are filled with anger and ferocity as she activates the first materia. Hayashizaki Kazuki shouts at Amasaki Mio to defend herself. Kaya has no intention of watching her comrades being attacked. She shields Mio and Kazuki with her body, spreading her black wings. This was followed by a powerful explosion that destroyed buildings located near the place where the fighting took place. The dust has cleared from Beatrix Baumgart's attack. Charlotte Liebenfrau calls out to her friends to see if they are okay. Approaching the explosion site, she discovered a whole crater. The girl is stunned by what she sees. Nearby, neither Hayashizaki Kazuki nor Amasaki Mio, nor even Kaya are visible. Trapped in a deep crater, discuss the success of the multi-layered armor, although it cannot be used again. Kazuki chides himself, but Kaya encourages him, suggesting that her magic is capable of killing Loki. The boy can't do that because Kaya is now their comrade. The girl laughs, saying that Kazuki is still as naive as everyone else. The three boys are approached by a rival. Beatrix turns to Loki. She wants to tell him something. Hayashizaki Kazuki thought it was Beatrix Baumgart, but no. Kaya informed him that it was Thor's voice. Thor tells Loki that hunting him was not part of his plan. Kaya says he knew about it. If Thor had attacked with full force, he would have already run out of steam. The king of the gods was preparing to talk to them. Loki screams at Thor that he has no desire to speak to him. Every time he met them, he was judged, mocked. They dishonored Loki. He yells that after killing the idiot Heimdall and the show-off Odin, Thor was there. He tells him that he thought of Loki as a friend. Once a close friend, he ordered her to remain silent because he was a giant of Jotunheim, hated by Loki. The snake that appeared under KO prevents her from continuing the fight, promising to warn her allies about Loki's next move. Kaya tells him that as long as they cherish their bond, the team has a chance to win. Hayashizaki Kazuki should know this. After the conversation ends, Beatrix enjoys the children's panic, insisting on ending the battle. Mio suggests that Kazuki cut a path through the defenses and escape, otherwise he will die. Charlotte confidently reassures him. She believes that if she is captured, the others will be saved. Amasaki Mio wanted to interrupt her friend's speech, but she failed. Charlotte Liebenfrau says she always knew about it. The girl believes that all the misfortunes are because of her. Then she sought refuge in this country, Everyone accepted her and began to protect her. However, a black shadow came with her. This can't go on, it will hit everyone. Charlotte Liebenfrau says that she should have died from the very beginning, and this time she believes she should give in. Lot goes to Beatrix Baumgart. Turning to her friends, Charlotte Liebenfrau says that they did a lot for her, even if it was only for a moment, but she was happy. The girl thanks her friends for this. Thus she said goodbye to them and was already heading towards Beatrix Baumgart. She was stopped by Hayashizaki Kazuki, who took her hand and told her not to go. A fate she cannot live in. As king, he will not allow it to happen. Kazuki is determined to spare Charlotte from suffering, even against her will. He believes that she deserves happiness and freedom from her dark fate. Looking into her eyes, he asks her to give up her sacrifice. Lot is outraged by Kazuki's attempts to protect her in a hopeless situation, asking why he is giving her hope. Approaching, the boy gently kisses her lips, firmly declaring his intention to protect the girl. Kiss of the oath, put your life on the line to protect someone you love. The boy says he won't let Charlotte Liebenfrau talk about it anymore. He knows the truth about him, who has tasted power and also the fullness of suffering. Hayashizaki Kazuki makes a summoning. His true name is Prometheus. Kazuki reveals the prophet's identity as the Greek titan Prometheus, the bringer of fire and hope to humanity. Mio confirms the mythological connection. An ecstatic Beatrix marvels at the magnitude of the event. Hayashizaki Kazuki prays to God that Prometheus will lend him his power now. The boy activates the weapon synthesis. Beatrix wants to end the fight between the two titans. Watching the fight, the friends worry about Kazuki, whose resistance to the formidable Mjolnir seems hopeless. Unable to understand what was happening, Kazuki combined his father's technique and the support of his friends, delivering a powerful blow that destroyed Beatrix's armor. She falls lifelessly to the ground. With another spell, he finished the first one. Beatrix Baumgart now realized that Hayashizaki Kazuki was indeed Basilevsky. The boy returned to his partners. He hugged Charlotte Liebenfrau, telling her that she shouldn't worry about anything. Lot burst into tears, leaning on her savior's shoulder. Amasaki Mio, Hayashizaki Kazuki, and Charlotte Liebenfrau stand in the middle of the crater. They have defeated their main opponent, Beatrix Baumgart. Atanashi Kagwa notified her superior of her victory over the German knight. Having received approval, the head of the Magic Club humbly accepts the orders given by her father. The compatibility level increases dramatically, but it can only be used once. With a simple kiss, the boy can summon 10th level magic. This ability was given to him by Liam. In this situation, there was no other choice. Amasaki Mio is worried about this kiss. She asks Hayashizaki Kazuki if he would kiss her if she were in a similar situation. Her face turns red from embarrassment. Hayashizaki Kazuki simply and casually says that he has already done it. Amasaki Mio is shocked by this because she does not remember this event. The boy said that it is so because Mio was on the verge of death. While she was dreaming about the kiss, it actually happened. Hayashizaki Kazuki doesn't understand why the girl is so shocked by this. After a brief silence, Amasaki Mio tells him to do it right here and now. The girl wants a kiss. Hayashizaki Kazuki didn't understand it at first. Turning around, Amasaki Mio was already asking him, otherwise, as she said, she wouldn't feel special to him. The boy was a little embarrassed but understood her request. He came up to her and hugged her and did what she asked. Amasaki Mio blushed from this. Giggling, she said that they are all a team and must protect each other. Hayashizaki Kazuki smiles sweetly after what happened. Charlotte Liebenfrau wishes she could do it too. Lot goes to Amasaki Mio, saying that she will take all the troubles away from Hayashizaki Kazuki. The girl waves her off, telling her to leave him alone. The boy is wary. He believes that the knightly order will not come. If they do not return soon, then the boys will be able to return to the witch's hut. Their wait was interrupted by a girl who informed them that the knightly order would not be coming. All three turned to look at her. Atanashi Kagwa has arrived. The president of the magic division, stopping Kazuki, announced that she had not come for the prisoner, but on a special mission. Hayashizaki says that he understood everything and said that they will not interfere. Until the night order arrives, he offers to help her. Atanashi Kagwa apologizes to them, saying that it is a little unpleasant. She raises her hand, activating the deep spectrum. The same shark that she wanted to attack the illegal magician with appears. Jumping aside, Kazuki demanded to know about Kagwa's actions. The president replied that she was acting on orders, the purpose of which was to arrest the illegal magic user Kazuki and Charlotte. Lisa is outraged by the management's decision to arrest Kazuki and Lot, believing the threat to be minimal. The management claims that there is no time to waste due to the increased danger. The management reported Kazuki's illegal possession of a sacred weapon and resistance to the knights. Lisa denies the accusations, believing them to be false, and the management reaffirms their trust in the professor's protege. The academy is to blame for the Scandinavian Nights incident. The issue is resolved by handing over to Lot and removing the stigma from Kazuki. Lisa questioned the removal of stigma, pointing to the risks and the opinion of the pillars. The interlocutors called the arguments an empty invention of a dreamy child. The management requests that they be allowed to arrest Hayashizaki Kazuki. After that, when they remove the stigma, they will be able to find out her true identity. Lisa Westwood finds it strange. There is an unnatural atmosphere in the room. At first, the professor thought it was someone's plan, but perhaps it is simply bottomless anger at the one who bears the name Basilevsky. In that case, the professor thinks that Hayashizaki Kazuki and Charlotte Liebenfrau might still be saved. There is a fierce fight between the boy and the student council president of the magic division. She gave him a blow that made his legs feel heavy. The girl sucked out all the magic power from the left side of his body in one attack. Hayashizaki Kazuki yells at the girl that this is a misunderstanding, and he doesn't understand why Otanashi Kagwa is doing this. The Magic Division Student Council president approaches him and asks him to be a good boy. Under his body, huge shark jaws appeared, ready to swallow Hayashizaki Kazuki. Amasaki Mio and Charlotte Liebenfrau did not stay aside. They activated and combined their attacks. Charlotte screams for Hayashizaki to do it now, but no one had time to do anything. Only Otanashi Kagwa directed the feeling of pain at the girl. She flew away in the other direction. Charlotte Liebenfrau, sitting on the ground, feels pain and thinks it is an illusion. The Magic Division Student Council president tells Lot that if she arrests her, the girl will die at Germany's hands. She would like to give her a chance to escape, but they stand in her way. Charlotte Liebenfrau resists, saying that she is not going to suffer because of this as much as the others. Her speech is interrupted by Kagwa, who sends a greater flow of magic into the girl. Otanashi Kagwa's attention is distracted by Hayashizaki Kazuki, who shouts and asks the girl to stop already. He struck her, but she cast a spell that casts a curse, and shares the common agony between the two. Kazuki doubled over from the reflected pain after being hit in the stomach by Kaguya. Suffering from the mirror effect of the magic, he looked straight into the eyes of the girl who approached him and cast a reprisal spell. Under the cover of excruciating pain, Kazuki Kagwa moved towards Mio, recognizing her desire to protect her friend. Her attempt at resistance ended in failure. The released tentacles firmly bound the girl. The magic spell Death Roulette deprives Mio of her senses, randomly cutting off her senses one by one. The connection with the magical powers will soon be completely cut off. Having failed to achieve results with simple methods, Kagwa decides to increase the impact on Mio. The girl's frightened scream makes Kazuki realize that the president is using other people's fears as a weapon. Realizing his only chance, Kazuki grabs his sword, hoping to knock Kagwa out. But suddenly an enemy figure appears, subordinated to someone else's will and aiming to eliminate the violators of magic. Through the pain, Kazuki looked at his former mentor, asking about the reasons for such cruel actions. Repeating the spell, Kagwa apologized, declaring an end to dreams and the end of the era of getting closer to the divas. Kagwa's plan failed due to the ice wall erected by Hikari Kaioyuka. After creating a portal, she ordered Kazuki to evacuate with the girls, aiming to prevent the president's victory. They were stopped by Otanashi Kagwa, who summoned tentacles that easily destroyed the wall of ice. She realized that Hikari Kaioyuka was eavesdropping. The president says that she never thought that Kaioyuka would do such a mean thing. However, this is not the best solution, as Kagwa says. If she does not do this, Hayashizaki Kazuki will truly become a criminal. Hikari Kaioyuka screams that this is not the case and there must be another way. She does not want to lose anyone else. In defense, the girl activates the ice wall again. Otanashi Kagwa notes that it would be better to be a little simpler if Kaioyuka is so important to Hayashizaki Kazuki. Kaioyuka, continuing to fight, scoffs and says that Kagwa is only pretending to keep his cool. That's not all. She yells at the Magic Division Student Council president that it was Kagwa who was in tears after accepting the mission. Otanashi Kagwa cast the massacre spell on Hikari Kaioyuka. Hayashizaki Kashuki was behind her with Amasaki Mio on his back. She caught the girl screaming in pain. Otanashi Kagwa says that no one wanted to do this, no one except her. Her scream is interrupted by another girl who calls Kagwa an evil magical stigma. She says that as long as she is here, the girl will not allow her to do this. Recognizing the voice, Kazuki saw Hikita Kohaku arrive and confront Kagwa. The techniques Murasame and Beikai used temporarily blind the president. Hayashizaki Kazuki realized that Hikita Kohaku also has a sacred weapon. The girl screams, so that the boy would run away while they were not visible in the fog. The boy realized that he needed to run away, but he didn't know where. Kohaku shouted for the boy to run with the girls to the guys from the swordsman's faculty. The student council president of the magic division was left alone. It started raining, and the girl was left all alone. Sitting on the ground in despair, she repeats the name Hayashizaki Kazuki. Hikita Kohaku asks the boy if everyone is here. The boy confirms, adding that the girls were sent to rest to recuperate. The girl apologizes, saying that there is one room available and she will have to put up with the cramped conditions. The boy asked Kohaku how she found out about this. Hisataba arrived and reported a message from Lisa. Having previously felt external influence, he is now almost free. He cannot help Kazuki, needing the support of the young man himself. The fencing faculty openly opposed the wizard's decision to take Charlotte's life, furthering the discord and taking control of the knights. Kazuki realized the fencing faculty's plans to start a conflict with the magicians. The 7 heirlooms of Kohaku will be added to the team's armament, reinforced by the weapons from Hisataba. Hikita Kohaku says that they have been saving up their strength for this moment. Now it is time to make a move under the flag of justice. Suhara Hisataba, adjusting his glasses, reports that with this, they will most likely be able to get rid of the rotten magic faculty, and the attitude towards the country's swordsmen will change. They would like Hayashizaki Kazuki to cooperate with them, although judging by his face, it would be impossible. As they leave, Suhara Hisataba and Hikita Kohaku state that they would like the boy to see the revolution as their captive. Before Hayashizaki Kazuki's eyes, Lemageddon materializes, calling this situation sorrow for the good. The conflict between the faculties escalates, showing mutual discontent and splitting the academy. Kazuki realizes that lack of unity inevitably leads to casualties. Hayashizaki Kazuki addresses Lemma, saying that the king's strength lies in his ability to consolidate power. Lemageddon realized that the king intended to use her. The question was how the boy would prove to the other pillars of Solomon that he was worthy of being king. He doesn't have the strength or the determination. However, even so, he wants to protect Mio and Lot as well as Kagwa, Kyoyuka, and Kohaku. Besides, there are other things he wants to protect no matter what. There is no other way to avoid sacrifices, not just the magic faculty, but also the swordsman faculty and others. Hayashizaki Kazuki will unite the academy and become its king as a swordsman from the magic faculty. It's been 2 days since the arrest warrant for Kazuki was issued, but there's been no news from the magic faculty. Torazu thought that the president would follow his feelings and disobey the order. She has some thoughts in mind. The swordsmanship faculty, under outside influence, is forced to act independently, tracking Kohaku and Kazuki's location, conducting their own investigation regardless of the magic faculty's position. There is someone trying to manipulate Hayashizaki Kazuki. Kani is determined to find that person quickly. Hikaru Kyoke had a dream. When she was 3, the signs started to show one after another. She turned into an elf, because her mother didn't believe that she was her child. Hikara Kyoyuka began to think of herself as a monster in the flesh. The family turned away from the girl, and she accepted the fate of an eternal loner and lived like that for 12 years of her life. When she was 14, Kyoyuka received an enigma. She felt like she had a reason to exist. Even so, to people, she was just a weapon they wanted to make fight. After entering the academy in the magic faculty, Hikara Kyoyuka met people she could look up to as comrades. Atanashi Kagwa was someone who wasn't afraid of her. The student council president of the magic faculty warmly welcomed the newcomer to the witch's hut, placing her hopes on her. Hayashizaki Kazuki. Because he was an orphan, Hikara Kyoyuka couldn't hide her loneliness from him. He said that although the girl was a bit rude, her kindness was irreplaceable to him. Amasaki Mio is very similar to Hikara Kyoyuka. She uses her talent in magic as a basis for self-expression, just like the girl herself. Mio told her that she would prove herself worthy of being in A rank and defeat her. When Hikara Kyoyuka thinks about them, the girl clings to the end to that hook of hope that she could perhaps become their close friend. The girl standing behind Kyoyuka asks her if she wants to come back. They are surrounded by white emptiness. Hikara Kyoyuka expressed her wish that she wanted to return to the witch's hut. In response, the girl smiled. She told her to go back to where everyone was. Opening her eyes, Kyoyuka realized that the ceiling was completely unfamiliar to her, as was the room she was in. Turning around, the girl saw that Amasaki Mio and Charlotte Liebenfrau were clinging to Hayashizaki Kazuki, licking his face. They swarmed around him on both sides. Mio meowed and Lot barked. Hikara Kyoyuka couldn't even find words for it. Everyone was stopped by the question of what they were doing. Amasaki Mio and Charlotte Liebenfrau stopped doing what they were doing. Hayashizaki Kazuki turned to Kyoyuka. Hikara came at them like a giant asking for an explanation of the current situation. Charlotte Liebenfrau said that they had gone to a cosplay cafe earlier and took the blame for it. The boy told Kyoyuka about the whole situation. In other words, the girl says they were placed here according to their plan. That's why the swordsmen are not helping them out of the kindness of their hearts. Hayashizaki Kazuki reminds them that this doesn't mean they can't escape, but if they leave this place now, they could end up in danger. Hikara Kaioyuka says that she has no interest in the rivalry between the magic faculty and the swordsman faculty or anything like that. She also thought that defeating Atanashi Kagwa was just a pipe dream. Her magical potential, techniques, and coordination with the diva were all top-notch. The boy thought that Hayakari surpassed Kagwa in magical potential. Atanashi Kagwa's magical potential is very high. She feels that she is developing it quite quickly, even though she was born without it. Mio thought that it was the same as being born with it. There are many guesses about this. Techniques for expanding magical capabilities are developed in secret, using science to change the human spirit to increase magical power. Hayashizaki Kazuki had heard something like this before. Suddenly, the boy remembered that he still hadn't thanked Hikari Kaioyuka. Looking into her eyes, he says thank you for saving them. Amasaki Mio and Charlotte Liebenfrau did not remain on the sidelines. They also thanked Kaioyuka for coming to the rescue. Embarrassed, Hikara denies saving the boys, citing confusion over Kaguya's actions. Not understanding human morality, she rejects thanks, for which Mio reproachfully advises her to simply accept them. In any case, Kaioyuka always appears at the right time and in the right place. Mio believes that Hikara is keeping an eye on the boy. The girl did not answer the question and looked away. A fierce Amasaki Mio appeared behind her, noticing that she had looked away. Hikara Kaioyuka casually calls it a coincidence. The young man says that Kaioyuka is simply a calm person, so she can instantly detect danger. After she saved his life so many times, he doesn't think it's an exaggeration that the girl has become a hero to him. Hikara Kaioyuka became embarrassed and said that he was exaggerating after all. Amasaki Mio and Charlotte Liebenfrau stuck to Hayashizaki Kazuki, saying that they were always ready to save him too. Kaioyuka says in other words that she is in a locked room with 3 dreamers. Amasaki Mio snaps back, asking who she said were dreamers. Hayashizaki Kazuki smiled, saying that it is what it is. He thought it must be unsettling to be in the same room with a guy. The boy swears by Hayashizaki's style that he won't do anything weird to Hikara Kaioyuka. Since there are other girls here, the boy asks to feel at ease. Kaioyuka asks not to worry about it. She's more worried that the girls will behave inappropriately in his presence. Amasaki Mio jumped up angrily after these words. She says that there is no girl who would do something indecent before marriage. Kaioyuka asks her not to say stupid things. Lot asks Kazuki what they are talking about, but she is better off not knowing. Hayakara Kaioyuka says that with people like that surrounding Hayashizaki Kashuki, it's hard to see anything but bad tendencies. She wonders why the maid costumes. Mio says that Kazuki likes it. The boy said that he doesn't have any specific tastes. Amasaki Mio reported that Hikita Kohaku brought it because the clothes were prepared in advance. The girl thought the maid costume was quite nice. Hayashizaki Kazuki believes that Kohaku left the costumes as an apology for locking them in that room. There is also a maid costume for Hikari Kaioyuka. He hands her the outfit, telling her to hurry up and change. The girl replies that if someone like her were to wear a maid costume, it would look indecent. She also adds that everything is fine and they can continue without her. Hayashizaki Kazuki approaches Hikari Kaioyuka, ordering her to finish with her, someone like me. The boy doesn't know how many times he has to tell her that she is beautiful. Kazuki tells her that a maid outfit would go perfectly with her beautiful skin and shiny silver hair. Hikari Kaioyuka asks to let her go. And don't get so close to her. The young man apologized sheepishly, while Liam said that the king sometimes became too excited when dealing with a woman who was very timid by nature. It would be better if he showed a calming demeanor. Lemegeton continues to tell him that from what Kaioyuka said, it's clear that the girl is trying to keep her distance from others. Hikari Kaioyuka decided to ask about other clothes, but Amasaki Mio once again convinced her that there were only maid costumes. The confused girl realizes that she has no choice. She believes that the appearance of a monster maid will surely shock the boys. Hikari Kaioyuka has finished changing. He pulls her skirt down to cover some parts. On her head are bunny ears. She asks permission to wear them. Charlotte Liebenfrau screams furiously that the girl must wear them. Hayashizaki Kazuki tells Hikari Kaioyuka that she looks very cute. This costume suits her very well. But the girl considers this flattery. However, because the garment covers her entire body, the girl believes that it will cause some difficulties while sleeping. Amasaki Mio shows her 3 sets of pajamas that were also left by Hikita Kohaku. Hikari Kaioyuka silently turned her head towards Mio and Kazuki, who realized that the situation had taken a turn for the worse. Kaioke yells that Kazuki is an idiot for trying to make her look cute. The boy admits that he really wanted to see her in a maid costume, even though it's against his beliefs. Amasaki Mio says that Hikari Kaioyuka makes that expression too often. Charlotte Frau thinks that Kaioyuka's sister is cute. However, while the four of them were having a good time, the situation outside changed drastically. Kohaku and Kanny, if the situation doesn't get worse while the guys are doing nothing, that will be great. The calm before the storm, the black shadow advances. Hikita Kohaku is informed that all the doors and windows are locked. The girl says that in that case, that's all for today. Kanny approached them, saying that she had checked the security cameras and noticed that the boys had recently started coming here too often. Although Kanny wanted to check the place, the lock had been changed without her knowledge, and she was unable to open the door. Despite this, the Fencing Division Student Council President wants to know what Kohaku and Suhara are planning at this place. Kagwa interrogates Kohaku about Kazuki's whereabouts. Calling the question ridiculous, Kohaku cites the rules of the faculty where leadership belongs to the strongest, including the possibility of changing the president through a duel. She says that it would be embarrassing if Kanny were to be defeated at her own game. Hikata reminds Kanny that she will no longer be able to serve as the student council president. The president responds to Hikata Kohaku, calling her a rather arrogant first year with high self-esteem. The girl shouts at Hirogi and Kaguya to use the sacred weapon to defeat Kanny's assistants. The opponent of the fencing division's student council president will be Hikita Kohaku. Kanny attacks Kohaku with Kurasame Ranbu, demanding that Murasame be frozen. After countering with Tenrin Kametachi, Kohaku unleashes a deadly Terodachi on Kanny. The girl releases the soul of the sword Usura Ryuden. Hayashizaki Kanny is literally pinned to the wall. Hikita Kohaku addresses the president, saying that she is indeed the strongest swordsman. However, she is a swordsman from a past era who naively continues to use normal swords. The girl promises to create a new era before her eyes, in which pathetic swordsmen like Kanny will cease to exist. The president calls Kohaku quite impudent for getting her hands on the power of the sacred weapon. Although sacred weapons can be really useful, the girl won't be able to change the world that way. Hikita Kohaku proudly says that her mission is flawless. Kanny mocks her, explaining that despite the title mission, she simply wants to rule the swordsmanship faculty. If someone like her were to rely on the power of the sacred weapon, there would be no chance of defeating Otonashi Kagwa, even if they fought her 10,000 times. If that happened, the relationship between the houses would take a dangerous turn. In order to prevent this from happening, the student council president of the fencing division will stop Hikita Kohaku to prevent the waste of skills. The girl screams that Kanny is a loser who, despite not being able to raise a finger to her, continues to lecture her from her pedestal. Kohaku is about to strike, calling Kanny a president with a brother complex. Using the art of drawing her sword and attacking in one move, Hayashizaki Kazuki stopped Hikita Kohaku's strike. The attacking girl was surprised. The fencing division student council president was able to repel Terodachi with the eye. Kanny hoots at her opponent, saying that she can't bear to see the kindness of Hayashizaki's face, so she speeds up the pace. The president yells at Hikita Kohaku, who is parrying her attacks, that it is quite brazen to say such things in her condition. Kanny displays high speed, causing Kohaku to recognize her opponent's hidden strength. Despite needing to warm up, Kohaku activates the Moon Blade sword, changing the course of events. The student council president of the fencing division easily moved behind Kohaku, asking if she was giving up. Hirogi activated the soul release of the Turin-Jin sword, which dealt a crushing blow to Kanny's back. Looking away, the president saw that Torazu and Ayori had been defeated by Hikita Kohaku's henchmen. She smirked as she fell. Kanny thought that she wouldn't make it in time, however, she found this battle interesting. Kohaku's partner turned to her, asking if she was okay. The girl looks at Kanny and thinks about hiding her killing intent and fighting half-heartedly. She thinks of this man as even more of a sword demon than Kazuki. Hikita Kohaku recalls the words of the fencing division student council president that a girl couldn't defeat Kagwa. Either way, it's her victory. Emisaki Mio 134 points, Charlotte Frau 102 points, Hikari Kaioyuki 53 points, Hashikaze Hayakara 41 points. And Otonashi Kagwa's level of affection can no longer be measured. It can't be helped after all, the Magic Division Student Council President is currently the enemy. Sitting in the bath, Hayashizaki Kazuki thought about how Kagwa was as lonely as he said. He didn't understand how the kind mentor became an enemy. Suddenly the boy stopped thinking about it, realizing that now was not the time to be depressed. Hayashizaki Kazuki needed to regain his determination now and then bring back the old days. Kazuki's thoughts are interrupted by the sudden appearance of Charlotte, who caught him swimming. Confused, Kazuki blushes when he sees her half-naked and hears an unexpected invitation to swim together. The boy tries to stop her, warning her that he is naked. For the girl, this is not a problem. She will try not to look only at the shoulders and chest. Charlotte Liebenfrau plopped down in the bathtub next to Kazuki, leaning against his body. Lot says she was forced to wear the magical robe, so it should be fine. She admits she would prefer to dispel it. Hayashizaki Kazuki asks Charlotte Liebenfrau to stop. He is already feeling dizzy. He asked her if she felt awkward, but no. Lot admits that she has already gotten used to it. Of course, this doesn't mean that she is ready to die or anything like that. The girl believes that the guy will be on her side, regardless of the consequences. Therefore, she decided to resist fate. Charlotte Liebenfrau says that even if they fail, they have no other choice. So no matter what happens, she won't regret it. Kazuki promised to protect Charlotte, after which she passionately embraced him, declaring her love. Unhappy with the closeness, the guy asks to let him go, but the girl ignores his requests, bringing him to the brink of patience. Amasaki Mio burst into the bathroom, screaming that it wasn't fair. And no matter the circumstances, they shouldn't do things like that and bathe together. The girl also wants to take a bath with Hayashizaki Kazuki. She says it again. Mio warns that she will also climb into their bathroom. Charlotte Liebenfrau scolds her, saying that she is demonstrating bad manners. Hayashizaki Kazuki yells at her not to do it. Lot points her finger at Mio and says that as far as she knows in Japan, a girl shouldn't take a bath wrapped in a towel. The girl looks embarrassed after hearing these words, but then makes a serious face. The girls were discussing the dress until Kazuki reminded them that he was naked in the bathroom. Mio's suggestion to take off the towel caused the guy to protest, and Charlotte watched with delight. Amasaki Mio took off her towel completely, leaving nothing behind. Hayashizaki Kazuki looks at her with his mouth open. Even though he tries not to do it, the boy cannot take his eyes off the girl. The girl warns Kazuki that she is about to enter the bathroom. This situation is getting very heated, and Hayashizaki Kazuki asks her to calm down or something bad will happen. Hikari Kaioyuka appears on the horizon, asking him to stop doing this. The girl picked up the towel and asked the girl what she was going to do while naked in front of the guy. In one movement, taking advantage of the confusion, Kaioyuka made a towel grabs, and she dragged Amasaki Mio into another room. Hikari Kaioyuka threw a towel to Hayashizaki Kazuki. As he ran out of the bathroom, he thanked the girl for helping him. Escaping from the bathroom, wrapped in a towel, the boy calls Kaioyuka his hero. The girl thought it would be great if he ever called her a hero again. There are only 2 bedrooms, so Kazuki sleeps between Charlotte and Hikari. Mio suggested this to prevent any mischief involving him. Amasaki Mio was indignant at her comrade's words, reminding her that she had no intention of doing anything indecent with Hayashizaki Kazuki. Hikari Kaioyuka turns her gaze to the girl and replies that the one who undressed in front of the guy is telling her that. She reminded her of a situation that happened some time ago. The remaining Mio and Charlotte calm down, and Hikaru lies down next to Kazuki, embarrassed by the closeness. The guy's request to stop watching is met with irritation, then he apologizes and invites everyone to rest. Kohaku woke Kazuki up with urgent matters. The sleepy boy opened his eyes, suspecting that the early visit was a sign of trouble. Kazuki tried to get up, but found his hand blocked by the sleeping Hikari, who mistook it for a stuffed animal. Fearing the consequences, he carefully asks her to move. When Hikari woke up, she started sucking Kazuki's finger, which sent him into a stupor. When she came to, Kazuki praised her behavior but asked her to move her legs. Realizing the whole situation, the girl blushed. She yells at him, saying that she doesn't understand what the young man saw in this. At this point, Charlotte Liebenfrau tries with all her might to wake up Amasaki Mio, who resists, saying that she won't get up without the prince's kiss. Coming out to Kohaku, Kazuki apologizes for the delay. Surprised when she asks about the scream, the guy explains that many things happened. Hikari stands there embarrassed, hiding her face. Kazuki learns from Kohaku that Kani has been defeated and her comrades have been suspended for robbery. The senior ranks of swordsmen have been disbanded and the previous council has been abolished. Kazuki warned Kohaku about a future worthy opponent. The guy's persistence led to the decision to organize a meeting with an important character. The girl wants the boy to meet the one who controls them behind the scenes. Alone, sitting, waiting, his real personality.